My name's Muhammad.
M-U?
You?
No.
It smells like fish in here. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
What is that smell of fish? I know I've heard of that.
Mohammed.
Someone hasn't showered in a while. I came home and I was like, hey man, get ready.
I didn't really have a choice.
You brought a friend.
Yes.
Reluctantly.
Last minute.
Oh, I didn't jump to joy for this, trust me.
When did he first bring it up?
About 9:30 in the morning.
I think when he texted, was it scary jumping into something that you guys knew so little about? And then you guys came from just north of Caledon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks so much for coming on the show. And we're going to have an exciting show we're going to talk about spray foam and a bunch of other stuff. We'll talk about construction. We'll talk about spray foam. We'll talk about your businesses. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. But I want to get everybody to introduce themselves. If we can go around the table, starting from Muhammad there.
My name's Muhammad.
M-U.
You?
No, because there's different ways.
I had no idea what I was getting into when I moved here.
Not a clue?
Not a clue.
No, but you're coming from where?
Australia.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know.
Yes, so
Yeah.
in Australia, spray foam isn't big at all. We have cellulose, but spray foam,
And not spray
no.
foam. What's the majority of the
New every day almost.
That's the best part. You're not stuck in a cubicle somewhere.
Well, it's construction in general most of the time.
No, because
right?
guys go there on a site 18 months, 24 months. We're at a different site every day. There's
That's
a new
true.
place to
There's a
eat, new coffee shop to go to.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, you're always out meeting people. Even if you're on a job site by yourself, you're still like, when in between that time.
Why not set up like a barbecue on the back of the truck or something like that?
I have
My
a
guys have
microwave.
microwaves.
Yeah.
Microwaves are so important.
It is a must.
Wow.
I get to eat my wife's homemade meals every day when I'm on the truck.
I think,
Benefits there.
Yeah, we got microwaves too.
like from a financial standpoint, speaking, I did go to university. That costs a lot of money. Even going to college for a trade costs a lot of money. You don't have to go to college to necessarily be a spray foamer. You have to go to, Foamit's College of Spray Foam. And by the way, they're going to pay you to be there. So I think that,
great
if you
education.
if you get,
But I
There's a
guess
challenge right there.
it was a challenge, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's not a good idea." But I had nothing else to do.
No, we needed extra labor. It's like, get up.
Yeah, no, it was me. I jumped into it. I was like, "I'm getting up with you 4 a.m, and I'm coming home with you 1 a.m. in the morning." And I did. We did it for a long time, just him and I.
Of
know,
me.
I know.
Listen, I'm not. Listen, I'm hard with names, man. So it's just I always try to remember people's names, right? So I just want to make sure. Even when I first contacted you, your name, for whatever reason, Apple did it as M-O. And I'm like, why didn't it do it as M-U? But that's a conversation for...
I mean, when we do the captions, automatically does MO as well.
Really?
So I got to keep correcting
See what I
it to
mean?
MU, but AI hasn't caught on yet that on my
Okay.
phone it's
All
MU.
right. So Mohammed's back from Foamit.
Correct.
You brought a friend.
Yes.
Reluctantly.
last minute.
I got.
I had to
reeled into
massage
this.
your feet in the morning. Baby, don't worry.
Nobody reeled anybody in.
Oh, I didn't jump to joy for this. Trust me.
When did he first bring it up?
About 9:30 in the morning.
I think when he texted me and he said, "Hang on a sec, let me just call her,"
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, did he text you and ask you, or did he call you?
I came home and I was like, hey man, get ready.
I didn't really have a choice.
All right, and duty wise, what do you do with Foamit?
I'm
What
more
do you
of like
handle?
in the backbone.
Okay, yeah.
So I like handle the complaints. I handle the customers that don't really want to pay.
That never happens in construction.
Oh, never.
Never. There's no
No.
department for that.
Oh, God.
You don't need it.
But yeah.
Need it badly. All right, so you take care of everything that's not on site, so to speak, but you
Yes.
make the site run smooth.
I try.
Other than Mohammed when he's on site.
Should I tell them what you
Come close.
Sure. Sure.
She's
What?
very, very humble.
Okay.
She's been involved in all aspects of spray foam insulation. She's been in attics. She's done blown in. She's done spray foam. She's scraped a lot of walls.
Oh, wow.
She's trained the guys. She's done the testing. She's been certified. She understands the whole administration.
This is
side
what
of
I was
things.
expecting you to tell me.
Yeah.
And now he's telling me. Okay, so yeah, you know the
she's
the
been
biz.
to probably well over 100 shows you've been to with me, trade
Yeah.
shows. She was at a
Been a
trade
while.
show with me this weekend as well. We're
Yeah,
at
you
the
guys
Tiny
just
Home
did the tiny show.
Yeah.
How did that go? That went well?
Well, we're just there for branding and like
Okay.
bringing our industry to everyone's eyes. Spray foam above fiberglass. So she's very comfortable training people. She gets along very well with people, even her own staff. She understands, like I said, the administration side of things when it comes to HR, payroll, taxes, CRA.
People person.
I am a people person.
And then she got pregnant.
Whose fault was that?
Oh God.
And then you guys, Foam has been around for
07.
since '07. So
Yeah.
there's like a good 40 years here of experience regarding this industry, this trade, right? So I just want to let everybody know that Alaska Chem, just giving a huge shout out to them. Thanks so much for them being a part of the show. But I guess my first question is, why did you guys choose spray foam? Because it's not the one trade that it's kind of like bricklaying and concrete and the harder jobs, the harder careers. I'd love to hear from all four of you guys. Why did you guys choose spray foam? Just jump in.
I guess
I got hustled.
You got
I got
hustled?
hustled, but I want to hear your story.
I want to hear yours
wanna
first.
hear-
Yours is
okay.
way more interesting than mine.
What do you mean you
I
got
think
hustled?
we
Poker
we
game?
had this talk before.
I think you mentioned it, yeah.
I did floors.
That's
and we
right.
wanted to get into insurance restoration. The gentleman we're buying it from had a spray foam truck. He took a deposit for both of them, gave us a deposit back for the restoration, didn't give the deposit back for the truck, so we had to give him the rest of the money to get the truck. And then the more research I did, I realized that this is not a part-time job.
There's work.
Yeah, like you got to work 600 days a year.
And you can't fly by night, right? Like, I mean, I can only assume during the funny years that we just experienced with the world, a lot of monkeys got into the business.
I think a lot of people try.
They try.
They buy
that.
a truck or they buy a trailer. They think they can do it, and then they don't realize actually how much like technology is involved in what we do.
Science.
And
Science.
how much damage they can cause.
And
yeah, and
and
how,
how many-
expensive
Labor.
everything is.
Yeah.
Sorry?
How labor intensive it can be.
Yes.
And
So-
how there's not a lot of us out there
So
who
did
actually
they
want to
just
do
bolt?
that.
Did they just bolt once they started realizing I can't really operate this business?
Give them 3 days and they start to run.
Really?
Some
It
of
goes
them,
that
yeah.
fast? It goes that fast, huh?
Well, we have a joke. It's like grand opening, grand closing. Like they'll start that year, and then by the end of the year, they've either
Gone.
changed their name or they're gone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to play the long game for sure.
The upfront costs are so expensive that like sometimes you think about it like, crap, how are we gonna pull this off?
I mean, just to give you an example, we were talking about it off microphone about a
I like
machine.
stuff off mic, eh?
A machine. It was basically a cargo van, $300,000 for a cargo van.
Yeah.
Everything brand new, but that doesn't include your ladders. That doesn't include your scaffolding. That doesn't include
Your toolbox,
Your toolbox.
spare gun.
Material.
Yeah, you got to buy material that's not expired. You got to make sure you treat that material correctly. And also the equipment, you got to treat that properly.
That's not paying wages.
And you got to fix it when it breaks.
Yeah.
And
gotta
then
know how to fix it.
Maintenance on that truck as well too is very important.
Or you have spares.
So-
like we have the same thing.
I go back to
Reactor.
why did you guys get into this industry? I'm fascinated by it. I know you got
Well, like I said, I got in the more research I did, I realized that, oh crap, it doesn't work like this. And then I just kept buying more and more stuff to have backup because like when you promise somebody something you want to deliver.
Yep.
So if you break down on someone, tell them, yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. That's not going to fly.
I had no idea what I was getting into when I moved here.
not a clue.
Not a clue.
No, but you're coming from where?
Australia.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know.
Yes. So
yeah.
in Australia, spray foam isn't big at all. We have cellulose, but spray foam.
And not spray
no.
foam. What's the majority there? Is bat.
No, it's actually
just
blown in.
Really?
But
Even
very, very low amount of blown in.
And no vapor barrier.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's the climate.
They don't put vapor barrier.
It's the reverse, right?
Anywhere?
Yeah.
No vapor barrier anywhere?
No.
Because like Australia is a big country and it has different hemispheres.
So we're in the colder zone, Melbourne, and they don't have
Melbourne,
vapor
Victoria.
barrier.
yeah.
and no vapor barriers.
No.
When you say colder zone, how cold are we talking about?
Well, it started to get to like -2 now.
Okay, all
We
right.
didn't used to see that back in the day.
That's a
but
Canadian spring.
That's yeah. It is.
We look
So-
forward to that
Oh
temperature.
yeah, shorts come out.
You're dressed for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
temperature right now. That's what it is. Okay, so you
So-
you had no idea that you were getting into it.
No, and then when I moved here, obviously I wasn't expecting to actually work alongside of my husband, but I
There's a
guess
challenge right there.
it was a challenge, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's not a good idea," but I had nothing else to do.
No, we needed extra labor. It's like, get up.
Yeah, no, it was me. I jumped into it. I was like, I'm getting up with you 4 a.m. and I'm coming home with you 1 a.m. in the morning. And I did. We did it for a long time, just him and I.
Was it scary jumping into something that you guys knew so little about?
No. I was ready for the challenge.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was challenging.
It was
It wasn't a fear.
No, it was just something new, something I knew I could learn it. I'm always a go-getter, so I don't kind of just sit back and be like, oh.
I just want people that listen to the show that do a lot of trades, and that whenever they're a kid and they choose the right trade that they want to choose,
Yeah.
I guess the majority of them would just jump right in, but the smarter ones
Do the
think about where
research.
they think about where they're jumping and
Yeah.
why they're jumping, and they try to figure that out, and
Yeah.
then they're successful as a result of it because they've chosen that one, right?
Yep.
But that's what you guys are doing. So the fear wasn't there. It was more the interest and the challenge to get in. And the same thing with yourselves, right? Where you're taking over for your dad's business and he's already built it a certain way, but you looked at the opportunity of where we can take it next,
Oh, for sure.
right?
Yeah,
so
like
you
he
saw
had-
lots of opportunity.
Yeah, he had worked out like a lot of the technical, things, if you will. But then it was my job to make sure that train kept moving.
Yeah.
So like things like buying more generators, having guys who can troubleshoot on site all the time is so important in our industry. Because if you can't do that, you're not running a spray.
That
foam
is, I
company.
mean, you guys, if it goes down,
That's it.
you got to MacGyver this thing. Like someone needs to be MacGyver
That-
on the
You
crew.
need to have a plan B.
Yeah.
Yes.
The old crew before they were older guys.
Yeah.
Hum the MacGyver tune. No, 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 no.
Did they really?
They right away they start humming because they know we're going into MacGyver mode. The younger guys don't know much of it, but
They won't know what MacGyver
No.
is.
But the guys before right away they start humming it because we gotta fix that. Whatever it's either a pneumatic line, hydraulic hose, something you gotta fix.
Get it out just right on site. You're taking that hose off. You're taking the block off the end of your gun, and you're putting it on the hose, and you're spraying for the rest of the day. And then
And it's
you're
so
fixing it.
heavy. It's so heavy like
Wow,
that.
eh?
There's you can't move it.
You're going from a
Flexible hose to a
So-
stiff ABS pipe.
So it goes from like a thicker line to a thinner line at the end, because you want to have that flexibility so that if you have tight ring joist pocket that you need to get into and you need to turn your wrist, you can get into it. Whereas if you're on the end of the hose, it's like you're
fighting
You're fighting it all day long.
And that's not the way to do the install.
No,
I think-
you want to make it as easy on your body as possible.
I think like spray foam sucks if you're getting it in or on something where it's not supposed to go. Just in general, is a terrible
Removal
thing.
is
Yeah.
Like you put it in the wall, you put it in the ceiling, whatever. That's great there. Anywhere else on anything else, terrible.
It's a pain.
Terrible to get out.
anything black is
Yeah, windows, doors. Oh my god.
So how much different is the industry today than it was when you guys first got into it? Do you look at those uphill battles of knowledge like nothing now? But there's new problems today.
I would say when I first got into it, the foam sprayed a lot nicer because they were using
HFCs.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
What is it?
HFCs.
Okay, so the HFCs, and what exactly is that?
The bad
It's a
stuff.
blowing agent.
The blowing agent. The
Yeah,
bad,
that's the stuff.
The bad stuff.
the bad stuff.
That's going to be the stuff that's deteriorating our ozone. You know what I mean? So now they've changed it over to HFO blowing agent, which Elasticam, I believe, was the first one.
Yeah.
And that's a significant change. That's 99.9%.
HFO stands for what, and HFC stands for what?
Hydrofluoric carbon, I think HFC.
Okay.
And HFO is probably hydrofluoric oxygen.
Okay. All right. So it's
Let's
science
Google
class.
it.
We're
It's-
back to
it's
science
a
class.
Back to science class.
Got it. So now is the industry switching everything over to HFOs,
It's
It has to be legally.
legally speaking?
as of
Yeah.
2022, it has to
Well-
be unless it's agricultural.
Okay, that's interesting. And now, so it doesn't spray as easy or as smoothly,
It
or sprays
All of
differently.
the above.
yeah.
Okay.
All of the above.
So it makes it more challenging, which means that you need a more experienced
You need to be an
installer?
experienced. You need to know how to dial it in. Basically, before you'd kind of have a range of temperatures you could operate within, and it was easy to make it look nice. And now it's like you need to be within a degree or two. And if you're not, I mean, an experienced installer can make it look good, but they're fighting it all day.
turnover. Am I wrong, guys? That there's a lot of turnover on
We
employees.
haven't had a high turnover for a long time now, but
So
there are periods of we go through quite a few guys to find that.
But you've
guy
built
that
a
has what it
base, right?
takes,
You're
yes.
you're educating these people to want to learn this industry and be in this industry and provide a great product, right? instead of, I guess, other guys that just fly right in and just say, forget it, it's just a paycheck, I'm punching a clock. How to communicate
Yeah.
with everybody.
Well, you can also tell them what to do. and
Exactly.
Actually
Yeah,
know
you know
to
what you're doing. Yeah.
Communication.
and then they're not like, well, you don't know what you're talking about.
But you do.
I
That's
do
the
know
thing.
what I'm talking about. And, if you want me to come and show you, I will show you. And, if you have to make a point, and some people need a point made, but I try not to get to that point because it's a mutual respect thing. It's, you explain it to them why they're doing what they're doing. And a lot of times that's enough. And certain people, that's not enough. And you do need to show them physically. And I'm not going to rough anyone up on a job site or anything like that, but I'm going to show them why they're doing it and what they're doing is wrong.
I would say not a year, years. Just train a good spray foamer. Like, it's not a year.
I've said it before. Usually 2 years have become profitable off that individual.
Yeah.
2 years of
2
training.
years.
And that, when you meet somebody, what is it that you see in them that says they have the potential to be a good installer?
I've been wrong multiple times, but
Well, Jeff's
we all have.
so
you
that's
think
what-
somebody, because if you're very positive, you're like, oh man, this guy has potential, and then you bank on that potential. But it's like, you got to be sure 100% the day they start.
So what are the key characteristics that you're looking for somebody that wants to get into this industry? Like, what are they?
Ego.
I think you just got to be
Sorry?
a hard worker.
No, what was that, Simone?
Ego.
Ego.
They need a little bit of an ego.
They need a little
to
bit
do
of an
what we
ego.
do. This
Really?
is not glamorous.
I can see that there.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I know it's not
a
glamorous.
little
This
bit
is
of
a
it.
good day.
No, I think people have to be a little bit overconfident to walk into that truck.
Okay.
Because if you started going through the entire truck and said, okay, this is what you have to do today, they'd be like, are you insane?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
crazy.
still on step one.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to kind of like stroke that ego a bit
Okay.
to get them to stay.
So
Retention.
someone that's really good with their hands, or maybe they come from a mechanical background,
Yeah.
like they have some trinking going on, or maybe a mechanical trade. That might be an interest that works for this trade. No,
If
or-
I could hire a farmer any day,
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I would.
That's been said so many times on this show. Like, bring me as many farmers as possible.
It's actually
because
funny because that's what
Yes.
Yeah.
feels-
Yeah. Yep.
Is that what it feels like?
the troubleshooting.
Maybe more. Maybe more.
Really? 95,
Yeah,
5%?
because like let's say you're spraying a wall and the guy that did the air barrier on the outside missed the spot you're spraying, the pressure goes out. Your neighbor's windows are gone. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Think
So
about
That's
that.
a
all prep.
possibility.
If you're driving downtown Toronto or Oakville, where we are right now, and
Yeah.
you see a building being spray foamed, drive the opposite direction because the wind catches the wrong direction.
5K.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and it'll stick on a car, on anything, because it doesn't actually
Turn into foam till it hits a hard substrate. So it could either be your
So
lungs.
when it goes
if you
when it
inhale
goes airborne, it's in a like a
It's
It
heading
stays a
for
mist.
something
it's looking for something
until
to
it
land
lands on there. Yeah.
So that's your prep stage where you have to go and literally dissect the building and make sure that the previous trades did what they were supposed to do, and that makes it good for you guys.
Most important part.
I mean, you think about it. If the plumber didn't do his job right and we come in and we foam it, they're going to blame us. They're not going to blame the plumber. Like if you have, say, like a 3.5-inch ABS pipe in the wall and they didn't secure it in place because, well, the GC didn't tell them that we were getting spray foam in, and we come in and we spray it and it comes out past the face of the studs.
Which it does.
It does if you're not paying attention, and you go to cut it and you cut that ABS line or you cut that PEX line, that's on us now because,
Of course.
and somebody else should have prepped it before us, but we have to catch it because if we don't catch it, they're gonna blame us anyways.
Our inspectors these days, I remember in the early days when people were just getting started with spray foam, inspectors, it was like hit and miss kind of thing.
Yeah, they stopped doing vapor barrier over close cell.
Well, they started,
Good.
stopped, started. They kept on. It was almost like tinted windows and being pulled over by a cop. Like, it's just up to their discretion at that time. And I'm like, well, you guys just figure out what is right, what is wrong. But I mean, there's been lots of structures that have been built with the vapor barrier
Yeah, on top of close cell spray
on
foam.
top of closed cell.
And you get a moisture trap and it just drips to the bottom plate and it molds away.
Yeah. So then they got rid of it at that point, right?
Oh, it smells like fish in here. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
What is that smell of fish? I know I've heard of that. And
Muhammad.
Someone hasn't showered in a while.
Basically, the foam was sprayed too thick, so
Too heavy.
too heavy. So a molten mass will be like created in the middle that won't ever cure, and it off gases.
Got it. So that's what's
And
going
that's
on there.
that's
So someone's in a
fishy smell.
hurry to just install the product and not install it correctly.
Exactly.
Like manufacturer specs is you should only spray 2 inches at a time.
Yeah.
And, some guys think that it's high expansion foam like they have in the US and they throw on 5 inches all at once.
Yeah.
That's why you answer the phone. The best thing you can
Have
do as a
to.
tradesperson is answer the phone.
Yeah.
Answer the text, reply. Don't try to.
Well, they have a client
Ghost
they're
anybody.
talking to, so you want to make them look good in front of their clients as well. So they need answers.
So where are the answers coming from the clients? Like, well, you guys are dealing with both clients and GCs,
Yeah.
right? So what is the dynamic between the two there?
Nothing. Whoever calls you, answer and tell them what's going on.
You're educating them the same way. You're not like there's no special privilege or whatever to speak to a GC this way, speak to a client this way.
No, you almost invest
they're-
the same.
they're
Except
both
if it's like
clients.
a repeat GC already knows the drill.
Yeah.
A repeat GC already.
Without that, we have no conversation.
Like I said, a repeat GC knows the drill.
Yeah.
And a new homeowner that's trying to manage their own project, you kind of got to hold their hand and explain the process.
Are clients today too educated?
They think they are.
A lot of YouTube.
I agree
videos
with
out
you.
There.
Yeah.
Ding,
that's-
ding, ding.
So a lot of Google clients, right? A lot of YouTube
yeah.
clients, a lot of like they think what they
TikTok.
see TikTok, so they
Yeah.
think that's reality, right?
We actually had he's a GC, but he's also a professor at a secondary school, not a secondary, college,
University.
Centennial or something like that.
Okay, post.
And we did the job, and then he's like, "No, these walls don't look good." What are you talking about? He's like, "Look, I want the job done like that." And I go, "Buddy, that's us." The same guy that sprayed your house, so like they're going online.
See the name, see everything.
No, he didn't. He just saw a photo, and I knew it was us. And I go, "That's us, man." I posted that.
Sorry, Simone, you were gonna say something on.
No, I mean with homeowners, I think we definitely have to invest a bit more time. But what I was going to say, I find it funny that everyone gets a quote, but no one necessarily asks where the product is coming from. Like, what product do you guys use?
Oh,
No one.
Why
no
don't
one-
they ask that?
I don't. Well, it's like clients are almost overeducated. I just find it funny but they don't ask like the most simple question, like, where's your product coming from?
I mean, I push that when I'm on site doing sales calls. It's, this is a Canadian-made and manufactured product.
So you guys take pride in
We
the
take
fact
pride
that
in
you're
100%.
using a product that is certified, it's safe, it's clean, it's proper.
And it's
I
made
mean,
in our province.
It
Like,
will be
that's
backed
cool.
if anything goes wrong. It would be backed, right?
Well, I mean, Lastchem's a family company. They're
Yeah.
family owned and operated. It's the same as our company. We're selling our business by selling their business.
So it just makes sense for you guys to incorporate it in as part of your sales pitch.
Exactly.
So the only reason that someone wouldn't include it in the sales pitch is because they're hiding something.
Could
Possibly.
Sometimes people are just looking at the bottom line rather.
Just a number, right?
yeah, just another customer. Whereas, I mean,
But what are you saving? Like you're actually losing longevity of referrals and work, future projects. Like the gamble is too great for you to try to save some bucks.
Not everybody could see that.
really, eh?
Yeah.
an educated customer is a good customer. If you educate your customer on the product you're installing, what you're going to do for them, they're better off because they're going to say, hey, Jeff at Reitzel, he just came over. He told me everything that they're going to do for me. And he did it. You know what I mean? Like the word of mouth is the best kind of business.
Sure, they have positive pressure masks, suits, gloves, Tyvek suit, fans.
If you
And you
damage
got to
one
show
suit,
them
you
over and
just
over again. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
Spare suits in the truck, spare
constantly.
gloves in this truck.
don't try to finish a job because there's 10 minutes left or whatever.
No, it's a priority. You
Okay.
need to. Some people have like health issues. It makes it worse. Like I know, like with asthmatics, being around the foam and being exposed to it is not a good thing. Then plus heights, you have to have the right training for heights and
It's
stuff
true.
like that.
You're up
too.
and down scaffolds, you're on
Yeah,
ladders,
yeah.
yes.
And there's been people that have had pretty bad accidents. You don't want that on your job site, so you have to make sure that safety is pretty much priority.
I mean, if you're not careful about it, like if you don't take the proper precautions, even as an installer, you can become sensitized to the product.
Absolutely.
And that's happening
Yeah.
a lot.
A lot,
I
yeah.
ran into someone last week and they told me that. A competitor.
I've heard of that, right? So it's just that's just that's inevitable, or is that not inevitable? Or no, it's
Not necessarily.
Okay,
Like if
so
you're
the-
taking the proper safety precautions, then you should be fine. But I feel like, way back in the day with the old guys, they didn't do
same
that.
thing for
kind of stuff.
A t-shirt around the mouth.
No, literally, and they'd be like smoking a cigarette while they're doing it. And you're like,
Or they got a hole in the
Yeah, cut a hole in the
But I think now, like with, at least for us, we're like, you see this barrel of chemical, like you don't want that going into you.
Yeah.
So I would suggest, for your kids, for your wife, for everyone, it's an easy argument. Wear your fresh air. Like
It's in our policies and procedures. You
Yeah.
read it, you initial each thing, each page, and then you're aware that you always have to wear it. You can't enter that zone without a mask with us.
but you'll still get some GCs and some designers or some homeowners that will just take a
Oh,
quick
yeah.
Always.
always.
with
You
their
have your warning
heels.
sign. Don't
Yeah,
go in there.
I just,
walk
like-
right past it.
Do people think that they're invincible? Is that what's going on here? Like they just can walk in briefly? Like as soon as you guys start, I'm gone.
I do think if you walk in, and very quickly, I think a lot of designers, if they've never smelt spray foam being installed before, I give them like less than 5 minutes before they're walking out of that
And
house.
they realize that they
Yeah.
shouldn't be there, right?
Yeah.
Well, they want to put it on their TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other.
You just sacrificed your lungs for 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's a whole. But I mean, I've had conversations where they try to schedule some meetings while that's going on, and I'm like, you guys don't understand how when this goes on, the site is shut down. It's owned and operated by one trade.
Minimum requirements when it comes to ventilation is 3% over
0.3.
24 hours.
ACH.
Yeah, so it's 0.3% of air circulation over 24 hours. And that's after application. So once everything's winded down, we're done spraying, no one can go in that house for 24 hours.
Yep.
Which makes sense to me. And even if you want to do it, is you extend it a little bit so they don't come back, right? But
Usually it's longer because by the time you finish, they're not in. They come back the following day. Not like, the day after the following day.
that goes back to the original question that came up, where it's like people are building it too fast. Now that as soon as you guys are done, hey, we can start drywalling, which basically we all know is halfway through a typical build. So once the client gets wind of that milestone, they want to start getting into the finishing stage and get away from the rough stage. So that becomes challenging for you guys because you guys want to do the job properly and make sure it's all good, and then come back the next day and make sure that it's all good. If there needs to be any touch-ups, you do it.
Well,
you do it.
inspections have to
Yeah.
happen after, and
Yeah.
at least for us, I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys, but
Yeah.
they
Good luck
sometimes
getting
take
inspector in,
a
yeah.
couple days.
Yeah, that's what I
For
figured.
sure.
Why not? Just let the
So
job
you're not
site-
really covering anything up yet.
And, and it's probably good for the industry that it does take a couple of days because
Yeah.
you do snuff out the jobs that aren't done properly, because it might not show up on the first day that, Buddy had a raw shot of chemical, which is, one side of chemical, and it shows up a couple days later because it has to leach through that insulation, the spray foam. And, it's good for the industry. The only thing I have a gripe with, inspectors is they look at a wall cavity and they're like, oh, that's low. You're a quarter-inch low in one spot, but you're
Well, that's your opinion. Why don't we look at the data? Like, because you guys are testing each batch, you're testing everything, so you're looking at the wall cavity, right?
Well, I mean, you go into a house that's been batted with fiberglass, and you go around a receptacle, and there's a gap this big, and they're not going to say anything.
Or the
about
guy that was on a Friday afternoon who scrunched the whole thing and just shoved it right into that cavity, and now what is that bat doing?
or that wire they just went around rather than cutting it open
Yes.
Yeah.
and filling it around it, and we get called out on that. Whereas it's really subjective. Like it should be across the board. If I'm getting called out on that, so should they.
No, we get harsher judgment from inspectors.
I could see that. But I mean, it can't be a visual thing. It has to be a data thing.
The technique is supposed to
No?
be they close their eyes and then they gauge 5 spots and they take the average of all 5. But no one does that. They aim for the lowest spot and they call you back for that one little spot.
I've had somebody call me out on less than a quarter inch.
An
That's
inspector?
insane.
An inspector.
I would challenge that guy.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. You're not going to win the battle.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's failed. You didn't have enough there. Well, I had a half an inch extra, like 6 inches away from that. I don't care. You're low there.
I'm trying to wrap my. I would be
There's no
challenging it
logic.
because I'm looking at the whole wall assembly. I'm looking at that whole section there when it's all like,
And that's what they should be doing, but they don't.
yeah. So now you guys, since you guys do your job, it's fully on display, and now they can see a slight imperfection here and there and call you on it, and then it kind of forces you to come back.
Yes.
It's a callback.
There
And
goes-
nobody wants to do callbacks. It doesn't matter what trade it
There
is,
goes
right?
profitability on the
Because
job.
that's profitability loss. That's exactly what happens, right?
Your whole profit is depending on the size of the job. You could lose it.
How do you handle that? Because I mean, I guess the callback or the customer service, and like,
We just have to go with it.
just so you, it's better just to.
You can't argue it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't argue it.
Okay.
You just got
So
to
just
sit
go
You
down.
never
with it.
win. You never win. You just get
No.
up and go get it done.
It has to pass, right? Like that's the reason they hire.
You're
us.
holding them up at that point.
Yeah.
If you're holding them up,
You're the bad guy.
you're the bad guy.
So there's just get it done and just finish and move on, and that's
Yes.
it.
And then you could ask for who the building inspector is in the future. Is what we kind of we want to know who the inspectors are.
Have a little list.
Yeah.
No, we have. We definitely
I
have.
have like a little black book.
Open it up and
No, we don't
Yeah,
do that. We
remember.
don't do that area
Well,
anymore.
honestly, like there's certain areas where I go and it's 20 minutes away from somewhere else I just sprayed yesterday, but he only looks at the spray foam as being an R5.5 rather than what it's actually rated as, an R6. You know, well, depending on thickness, it's
I mean, there's arguments to be had for R, right, ratings and all that stuff, because a lot of that stuff is done in a lab in a controlled environment, and then when you apply it to a real job site environment, you're not necessarily getting that exact. And I'm talking about all forms of insulation.
can we do the exact same test to fiberglass bats of insulation?
That's what I mean, right? So that's, and it's not done. I'm assuming. I don't think they have the strict guidelines that you guys have, right?
No.
Which is unfair at that point.
I'm not sure what's involved in the fiberglass test.
I'm not. I don't know.
But I know what's involved with spray foam.
Yeah, you guys have a very strict guideline of what you're, and it's almost like
I was talking about the manufacturing aspect and how they get their R values.
Yeah, yeah, but it's proven that way. So again, back to you guys create the product on site. You do it the way manufacturer specs are stating it should be done. You guys get that R value. But if you manipulate another product on site, then you're not getting that science class lab tested R value, right?
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You've got fiberglass on the wall. The next cavity over, you have spray foam. Just look at them, feel it, look at the difference. Fiberglass insulation literally insulates through airflow,
Yes.
whereas with spray foam, there's no air going through it. It's heat conduction, which
Yes.
it's completely different. I would say there should be tighter testing requirements on the fiberglass insulation, but you're never going to get it because
It's efficiency, it's speed. They need
speed is cost. It's
like,
economical.
When I first
Save
learned
budget.
in construction that a track home takes 19 weeks from excavation of a hole to key to client, 19 weeks, you get an average size home. That's how fast you get it. That makes me nervous because I can only assume how much that home is going to move in that period of time. And also the 19 weeks of what part of the year it was being built.
Better pray to God it wasn't winter.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you factor that in, right? So, I mean, you guys, and I want to talk about, I guess, administrative scheduling, because you're trying to schedule jobs and organize a business and run it smoothly. But then there are some hiccups, like we talked about, MacGyvering. There's all kinds of things that happen.
Who does the scheduling for you guys?
How do you guys handle the scheduling?
It's between myself and another gentleman. Basically, well, perfect example.
How often does your schedule change?
Well, perfect example. Last weekend, Sunday afternoon, the other gentleman went into the office, made a couple calls, just to make sure everything was good for Monday. Oh, yeah, we didn't pass inspection. We got to push it off like a week. You got to push it off. Like, we're supposed to be there tomorrow. And
Yeah.
you didn't tell us. We had to call you.
We had
Yeah.
the same thing happen to us this week. We had 2 large custom houses. Push it.
And, it's jobs don't just grow on trees. It's not like sometimes.
Well, no, you don't. You're not going to take on another job because you know you're committed to that job. So when they push you, you could probably bounce jobs around, but you could be left holding an empty
Scrambling.
sack.
Yeah, some days you know.
And you still got to pay your staff.
Yeah, everyone comes in, they've got a day, so they're working, right? But then if you guys are floating the schedule and trying to figure out,
Sometimes you can fill in a job, and like you said, some days you can't because that was maybe that one day you can't, but maybe for the next day you can, and you find something for them to do because you want to take care of your guys. It comes down to.
Well, I know you. How many trucks you got going on? How many crews?
Well, we have 9 trucks, but we're only sending out 3 to 4 a day.
Okay, and then you guys how many trucks and crews?
We have 2, but then we have 1 truck that has 2 reactors in it.
Okay, and then Jeff.
We have 3 urethane trucks, and regularly we're sending out 2. But
You need that one.
you need the extra one just in case.
We
Like
need like 3 extras.
Actually,
extra.
So the fly by night guys.
Full truck extras.
we've had 3 spray foam trucks break down on us at once.
yeah,
All
It
it's
does
three-
happen.
really?
And multiple times it's happened to us, yeah.
And you guys are just in the shop trying to figure it out?
No,
Or on site?
we're calling up another company asking us if they're going to give us a hand.
To work together.
Or
Is that
someone can
easy?
lend us a truck. No, it's not easy because no one trusts nobody with their own truck.
I don't trust anyone with my truck.
No, you can't.
Would you let someone spray it for you?
Yeah, we do that, but I mean, we've never been in that situation. People have lent us a truck.
Right.
Or like we have one spare truck, then we need one more truck, and then we talk to the next person, and we were able to finish.
So
the
how
job.
was that day when you guys were getting that call where all of them were getting down, but you had
Remember
work?
that? Remember that scene in Matrix where they're shooting bullets at him and he's dodging everything in slow motion?
That's what it was?
That's exactly
You saw
how it is.
everything coming at you, and then you were just trying to navigate.
But we're making it
Brutal.
work.
It was bad, huh?
Brutal. It's brutal. It's such a mess. And then you're trying to like juggle with like the other homeowners. There's another day. And then
Everybody's pissed
trying to
off because
yeah,
their
it's
drywallers
just-
getting pushed now, and they're not
Yeah.
coming back for 2 weeks.
you're trying to make it work in every aspect, like from the homeowners to the crew to the trucks to like the repairs, and it's just
So much work to just.
crap. Yeah.
But that's why you probably would want, like you guys were saying, 2 or 3
Extra-
days afterwards, just in case, right?
And also just a really good team.
Well, think
That's why we for us, we build our own trucks. I don't know. Do you guys build your own trucks
Yeah.
too? Yeah.
Yeah, we build
Yeah.
our own.
I think if you're a well-known, you're building your own trucks. You're not necessarily buying a pre-built truck, just because then you can use the trades available. Like for example, for us, we bought our air compressor from a guy that lives like 20 minutes from us. So if our air compressor goes down, I just call him and say, "Hey, you go out and take a look at that." Right. So I think it's advantageous to make sure that you have your team stacked wherever you're running your business.
You guys got so many balls up in the air. Like you're juggling so much. That's why I keep saying that this is such a difficult trade and difficult part of the industry.
Well, certain guys will run trailers. Certain guys run like box trucks. We run box trucks.
We only run bus trucks.
Yeah.
Anybody ever show up in a Civic?
Maybe if the truck's already on site.
You can't even pull the generator with a Civic.
Just saying, anybody can do anything in a Civic from the 80s, all right? That's just, Civics are
with
amazing.
no oil.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
basically, like, I mean, you think about it, you plan to have that truck down yearly because it needs to be inspected for MTO purposes.
Yes, all that regulation.
All the
stuff.
regulations there. Say you weren't expecting something to be wrong with it. It's down for an extra 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? You have to go with it because you've booked your jobs. And yes, maybe you accounted for the truck being down for a couple of days at a time. But then there's 3 more days where you were planning on having that truck. Well, you need to have that extra truck.
Is it worth building the business proactively so you guys are constantly just making sure things are still running smooth?
Totally.
So you spend that time, whether that's like a day or a morning, or if something's down or whatever, then the crew can actually just be tinkering?
We do it every quarter. Every quarter, I bring the guys in on a Saturday. They just look at everything because we have blow-in trailers as well,
Same.
and
Okay.
there's generators in those guys too. So everything gets looked at quarterly, I like to think.
And Jeff, you're the same?
We have a shop guy, and he's always tinkering in the back of the trucks at the end of every day. You know, he's checking on little odds and ends, making sure everything's good to go.
It's almost like a flight check, like a pilot getting ready to take off. Like you just have a list of things that you're...
Yeah, he's got a list of things. He's great, honestly. Just don't get caught in a conversation with him. You'll be there a lot longer than you want to be.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Walking out the door and he's following you.
I'm gone.
But no, he's very technical, so he knows what he's talking about. He's been around the urethane machines for a long time, and it's just little things. He gives warnings to my guys like, hey, just so you know, you need to be looking out for this. Then he'll tell me, okay, I told him about this. We're probably going to need to get it replaced. I can replace it after hours. We'll get it taken care of. You know, he kind of comes in a little bit off hours from our guys so that he's able to take care of things at the end of the day. I mean, it's an added cost, but it saves us in the long run. You know what I mean? It's somebody,
So
a
it's
second
worth
set of
it.
eyes on
It's
it.
100% worth it to
100%.
just be on it. You guys are the same too. I remember when you brought
I
me to
am
your
the
shop.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're the guy.
I'm not fix
So
everything.
you're constantly looking
yeah, we're
at it.
changing generator oil every month, hydraulic oil every 3 months, air filters every month. Our trucks had oil changes maybe every 3 to 6 months. So I don't care. We're not going to wait a year, 10,000 kilometers. We get the nipples greased all the time.
You're just like a body shop, like it's
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Because you've got the 3 crews going out, but you've got 9 trucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just like any industry. Take care of
No,
your
no, we
tools.
just can't find like able bodies that we trust. So there's no point in me taking on guys to do half-ass work and ruin our reputation. I'd rather build a solid foundation, like Simone was saying, and then you take on another crew.
Yeah, like so for us, like my tech guy, he was like actually he was from the Philippines, moved to Canada, lived in Canada for 20 years, over 20 years, and then came to work for us. So he was already a Canadian citizen. That's how we kind of got on the Filipino train. And he's like our oldest standing employee, basically, you know, with my dad, you know, made Basque what it is today. And his long term, like my long term plan for him is he won't be spraying foam forever. You can't spray foam forever. So he's our tech guy. Like he tinkers.
But your businesses are designed that way that you
They
can
have to
get
be.
someone that starts boots on the ground, works
Yeah.
their way under, like yourselves, all 4 of you guys, understand the installing process of this
Yep.
trade, and then you're working your way up through the business.
Yep.
To the
and he
point.
also trains too. Like he's trained countless
There's
guys.
so much training though.
So much training.
Well-
It's such an investment.
Like any of my guys calls me with an issue, 90% of problems I can walk them through over the phone. And the only reason I got that is because of the guy that trained me.
FaceTime foam.
Now it's easier. Now
Yeah,
easier
it's
than
way
before.
easier, way easier. You
But
can
it
send a
was-
video.
But it was difficult, I guess, in the early days because you really had to explain all the widgets.
No, there was no one to learn from.
There was no
No
pool.
one knew
Like, yeah.
what to do.
They just
You
did
got
it.
this massive machine. 350
It's pretty
feet of hose.
intimidating. I walk in there and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I know the door's here. That's about as far as I get, but it is pretty intimidating for someone who's not familiar with it.
Well, I think like for the spray foam training, it's like we just did it. It's a 2-day, 3-day course, but they don't take you through how to fix stuff.
No.
Right? Like they're like, oh, this is the gun and this is how to break it apart. You're
Yeah,
like, great. That's like
we already know that.
yeah, we got that far. Thank you. Right now, what about when this goes wrong and I'm, you know, down a back road, it's an hour and a half from my shop and it's snowing. Like, what am I doing here? They don't train you on that sort
On
of
that scenario.
No, they don't.
Which is what they should be.
But this is like you kind of weed out the guy in a truck very early because they just can't handle the pressure in order to get past the learning curve that it takes to actually run a spray foam truck.
I want to go back on one thing for site conditions is how many times you guys showed up on a site and the parking is not available for the vehicle that you guys are bringing.
We start like
Most of our
6
Toronto jobs.
in the morning. We're the first one there. Can't move a foam truck.
I
We're
know.
the first one there.
Yeah, once we get parked, we're good. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing
Don't
I
look me.
found, especially when I was on the truck, is just talk to people. You know what I mean? Just let's figure it out, guys. Let's work together. And a lot of times, if you can be a good communicator with someone, they're going to work with you.
Well, it's not so much that. I was actually alluding to they have a broken driveway or like it's completely excavated. There's divots and like it's not a well-suited place to park the truck.
We've had it.
You guys have all
Especially
come
with the
across that. Like,
snow.
What I hate most is if there's a big hole and they just put plywood on it without
Yeah.
you knowing, and the tire goes in and your whole truck falls in. Like, oh, fuck, buddy. What are
yeah,
doing
you
with the
can't do
3-foot
that,
hole
right?
here?
Yeah.
Unrealistic expectations. Oh, we just regraded all of this. Just park right there on that dirt mound. Yeah, I'm gonna sink. No, you won't. Yeah, I'm gonna sink.
No
So there's
gravel.
got to be a little bit of awareness of what you guys are bringing.
Well, I put a lot onto our sales reps. You know what I mean? When they're out looking at jobs, that's my big thing. It's I got to be able to get my truck in there.
But that drive might change in the time that you guys show up to do the job, right?
Well, when we're dealing with customers, like clients,
Okay.
residential,
Yes.
a lot of times it's, we're looking for big trees. We're looking for low hanging wires.
same.
You're looking for, like when you go into like Toronto jobs and Hamilton jobs, is it a one way? Do we have parking in front of the house? Are we on the same side of the street?
All those questions,
Are we
yes.
accounting for getting a $350 parking ticket or a $150 parking ticket because we have to park there? It's a lot of things that you got to take into perspective when you're looking.
Handling neighbors, and obviously your trucks make noise. That's just a given.
We have quiet covers on all our generators.
So how much is it reduced? Do you know offhand?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it might be a bit different for us, but I have done a couple jobs over in Forest Hill where we've started the foam truck up at like 6 a.m. with a quiet cover on it. Totally fine.
And everyone's still sleepy.
Yep, everyone's still. It has worked so far, but I don't know if you guys have your quiet.
We have one only. But
Yeah, we run all our trucks with quiet covers.
I have
Just-
yet to do a decibel test with it and without it. I feel like it's
pretty-
already kind of silent to begin with our generators.
Oh, okay. Maybe I had a really
I never even asked you guys at the very beginning, like what spray brand or what equipment you guys running. Is everybody different?
I'm Graco, John Deere, Champion, and DV compressors.
Okay.
Graco for sure.
So I get the sense that a lot of people are Graco.
Well, we run older equipment. It's Graco Gusmer, which
Graco owns it now.
Graco owns Gusmer now. So back in the day, it was both. But I would say you can go. We have one PMC machine as well. But I still like my H2035s.
Yeah.
Way better.
E30s.
I don't even know what that is.
Older equipment actually, because like you were saying before, you can actually fix it on site as compared to the new.
You can bypass things.
So there's no computers, switchboards, and all kinds of AI technology.
Still switchboards, control panels because you've got your heating elements inside of it. So
Yes.
there's certain things that you can't fix on site. Like if you lose an element, which doesn't happen very often with these old machines, you're SOL. You're done for the day. You need to have that extra truck. But I would say most problems you can bypass if necessary. And you're not going to run into a fault, like an error signal coming up on your machine saying, oh, you can't spray right now. You need to fix this. But as an installer, you need to know how to bypass it to make it so that it's actually still applicating properly.
So you get the new guy come in, you're training, you got a world of training, you got safety, you got how to do the spray and everything like that. And then you have to train them on how to MacGyver figure out something.
Oh no, the first thing is how to do prep work.
Yes.
Prep work. That's the number one thing. So it's basically the Miyagi, just wax on, wax off.
All
Do
day
that
long,
first
yeah.
all day long. Figure that one out.
Well, we talked about, what you're looking for in a potential person, high attention to detail. You got to have the ego, but you got to have high attention to detail.
Yeah, cover that furnace, cover that water tank.
And say we're spraying this ceiling right here. I'm not looking at the ceiling. I'm
Everything
glancing
that
at
can
it.
go- yeah.
I'm glancing at it. I'm seeing if there's anything I need to be worried about. But then I'm looking around. I need to cover the entire floor, all around this room.
There's no way you're foaming this room. As much as you want to foam this room, you're not foaming this room.
But those are the things you got to look
No,
at.
you look at all those things. Yeah, totally. And you got to teach that to somebody to look at all those things.
And you have to look at heights. You're looking at
Scaffolding.
Yeah, if you need it, scaffolding, like you said, and then is there a hole in the floor over here underneath this random piece of plywood that's just been thrown over here? You need to look at everything. Another thing is how high are the walls? Because typically you're buying poly sheets that are 8 feet.
8
They
feet,
open to
9 foot
8 feet.
ceilings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you're not just slapping up a piece of plywood poly and then going over top of it. You actually have to put the lower piece first because you want it to fall down because you're spraying from the top. The overspray, if you put the lower piece in front of the upper piece, it's just going to sneak in behind.
Trade shows. I know that you were just recently at one.
They're dying.
Are they dying? What do you mean they're
Yeah,
dying?
It's not like
No, I was just going to ask, are they a good resource for you guys for education purposes or networking or all kinds of things like that? Yes or no?
We don't really, no.
No,
we don't
really?
really do it, no.
Well, every building trade show has a spray foam section, I guess, of it, but they're not really, they don't benefit your business.
mean, we do get leads. But,
Like, do you get client leads or GCs?
We do. We get both. Both. But mainly there's people that are just coming up just to educate themselves about the product. Obviously, people are getting new builds or have a project coming up, and they just they're trying to figure out what insulation they want to use.
It's good PR, like for sure.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
only for
Yeah.
branding,
Yeah,
but
like and you guys
we've
do a
definitely
great job
scaled
at that.
down. Like
Yeah.
we're not doing as much as we used to do.
Yeah, I
Right.
know.
You guys are the same?
I can't tell you the last time I went to a trade show.
Yeah.
Really?
You guys have been around for so long that you forgot to do it.
I know, and I want to. We've been talking about it. It's just there's so many different things that are being taken care of, and it's good PR. It is.
No. As long as you guys are getting leads and your schedule's full, there's no point of doing it.
So you guys are looking at trade shows more as a way for sales and not so much for the business or advancing the business itself?
Our company's almost been in business for 50 years. So a lot of our sales come from word of mouth. And if it's not word of mouth, it's Google, it's our Instagram. It's
But are the new toys not showing up at these trade shows, or were you guys getting the new toy tech or the?
They did have one, I think it was this past weekend, but most of those trade shows are down in the U.S. Like spray foam worldwide is a big thing nowadays. But, it's not beneficial for them to come to Canada. I think the closest one was 2 years ago. And, I mean, I want to go and check out the stuff, but I'm not flying to California.
No, but I guess my question is, would it benefit your business? Would it help advance your business, or would it be?
I think we do a lot of innovation
Yeah,
you
we
do it
spend a
internally?
lot of us
on
too.
our own, trying to
Our
figure out
R&D,
ways
yeah.
to do things better. I don't think I've ever thought about utilizing a trade, like a spray foam trade show, to figure out how to do better.
That's
where we
interesting,
are.
because almost every other trade
Yeah.
would say would go to trade shows to advance their business and also possibly generate leads.
Me and Emine used to go to World of Concrete almost every year, like 7 years ago.
Then I
But
had
we just went to
kids.
learn, just educate ourselves
Yeah.
and have an open mind to other things.
That's such a massive show.
It is. We'd be there
It's
for
a
the
great
whole week.
show.
It's a great show.
It's a great
I
show.
recommend anybody go to at least once
Yeah.
to check it out, right? I just wish they get rid of it from Vegas, but I'm not a fan of Vegas, but that's a different show right now.
Maybe
but-
we should make our own.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain things you see come down the line that I find are beneficial. I mean, Piranha Tools, we use like a handsaw to cut the foam because I find it the quickest and the easiest, most efficient. You're right there. You're looking at everything that you're doing. Piranha came out with a tool that has a scraper and like a serrated edge on it, so that you can do both. And there's little things like that I want to see, but I'm not flying down to Texas to go and look at them.
I think I also keep in touch with the Elastochem sales reps quite a bit, like Kevin Kerr. Love calling Kevin.
Yeah,
And
he's
just
amazing.
chatting.
He's a great guy.
and he'll always drop cool things on me every once in a while. And I think that's another way that we kind of keep the innovation going. Is I'll take stuff that Elastochem says and try it out and see what happens. Like I said, I'm fairly young in the industry, so I have a lot to learn, and I lean on them quite a bit.
But they're a good resource. You found
Great.
something, and that's the same thing that you guys are looking for. You're seeing that as more valued than actually attending an event that possibly is just basically a social gathering.
Yeah.
well, I don't want the latest and greatest, because usually you want version 3.
yeah. It's
Let
already
somebody
been
else
used
figure it out
and
first,
updated,
what's
yeah.
wrong with it, and then go from there, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, because the first version, it looks shiny and new, but then you find the problem.
Yeah.
And then they come out with something that's fixed it, and then there's more problems, and then they find the best version, and then they create a new product.
So when it comes to, relatively speaking, you guys are all about anywhere from 10 to 15 years of running a business in this particular trade in the industry. At what point do you guys look at the business and go, we're ready to advance. We're ready to buy a new truck, buy a new sprayer, new machine, new everything. Because it sounds like you guys are maintaining what's existing and making it work, but eventually it will fail, that you'll have to replace with something new. Is that not the case?
Every year we're spending money on something better than before. Like
Really?
I remember
Oh,
we used
so
to have
you are-
five,
you
we
are
we
doing
used to have
this.
5 horsepower compressors. Now the smallest one we all have is like a 10 horsepower. So
Wow.
we're sitting on maybe like 4, 5 horsepower compressors.
And
And
they
then
just
same
sit
thing with
there until they're ready-
generators. Yeah.
Until they're ready to to go into something
Yeah.
that's not working
Oh,
anymore.
so you guys are doing,
stockpile.
yeah, so it's all being done, right? So
Yeah.
you guys are already into, that's just the natural progression of your business.
We have enough equipment right now to build another 3 trucks.
Yeah.
But that's all being
It's just sitting there actually.
predicting for what's going to happen in the future.
It's insurance policy.
Yeah.
I just
Like, what
put
if a truck goes down?
Yeah.
I just put a 12-year-old new machine into a truck. We bought it 12 years ago. And
Oh, it
I-
was brand new. Just
was
left
brand
there.
new. It was
And
in
it's
the
just-
box.
And it's just been sitting there.
just been sitting
And now
there.
it's finally getting its day.
A year and a half ago, I put it onto a truck.
Starts like butter, is it?
Starts like butter.
And nothing's wrong with it.
Nothing's wrong with it. It's.
So I guess I was wrong that you guys are.
H2035.
No, that was the PMC. So
Oh.
I think it's an H40 GXT. No, I can't remember the specs on it, but we
No idea what you're talking about.
There, I'm so used to, because I sprayed with the H2035 for 10 years, and then you get this new piece of equipment. It's like, no, H2035. That's what I spray with. No, it's not actually. So, do your education, background checks, everything like that. But,
Here's the flip side. Are companies like Elasticam coming to you guys and picking your brains about the industry? Because you guys are the end user.
I don't think so. I think
I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, no.
I would say they don't come to you, but if you call them, they listen.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Like
yeah.
we found early years with the Insulthane Extreme when we started talking to them about application and how we could improve it, what the problems are with it. They listened and they changed things around. I distinctly remember when it first came out, it literally smelled like chocolate, and I thought it was something in my head that. Why does it smell like chocolate? It's like brown. Maybe my brain's tricking me to think that it smells like chocolate.
Did it smell like chocolate?
It was sweet. It was a sweet smell. And I said to them, I said, you can't have it smell like that because people won't understand that it's not good for them. And I don't know what happened. And maybe it was slightly me, but I can walk into a room. If I don't have a respirator on, I can smell the foam. And I've been spraying, like I said, it's 10, 11 years. And it's because I wear my respirator all the time. You should be able to smell the foam, and it should be an irritant because you shouldn't want to stand in a room while it's being applied.
Are you too far off if you're not smelling the foam anymore? Like, is there irreversible damage at that point or no?
Well, when we got into the sensitization, I don't know that it's sense of smell that you lose. I think it's you get different irritations. Some people have skin
It's like
Yeah.
an allergic
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
to it.
So I'd say it's very few and far between where people actually lose their sense of taste and smell, like COVID.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm so anal that I hold my breath if I take my mask off. So I'll do my best not to sniff anything.
Because you guys understand the safety risks attached to
I
this,
just don't
right?
want to inhale anything.
That's it, right? It's still a chemical at the end of the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And then we're so used to taking our masks off at the door, so we'll walk all the way to where the exit door is, and we'll take our mask off there, and then you take a few steps away. Then you.
And then masks have lifespans on them as well, too. No.
Usually your lenses and sometimes your snorkel goes, but like depending on the clamps you have, we just could replace them right away. We have spare clamps on the trucks.
So, what do you guys think the industry is going to look like 5 years from now? Are we still advancing? Like,
the manufacturer.
I don't know. I think the barriers of entry is so high right now that first of all you better have very deep pockets and be very
just to
confident in
start
your-
right now,
Yeah,
you need it. But you guys are already established.
because the last truck we built ran us $250,000.
Yeah.
That's just one
Oh,
truck.
wow.
We're about
And
the
that's
same
typical,
$250,000.
huh?
Yeah, our big boy with the 2 reactors in it is well over $300,000.
So there isn't going to be a Civic foam company anytime soon, right? Like,
I
that's
think
not going to
so.
happen.
I think you might get like a lot of mom and pop shops,
Really?
but like in the wintertime, they're gonna really feel it because like I don't know about your areas, but commercial lease rates are ridiculously high in Toronto.
We have our own building, so that's nice with a warm room, extra nice. But again, the overhead on that is still quite a bit.
New every day almost.
That's the best part. You're not stuck in a cubicle somewhere.
Well, it's construction in general most of the time.
No, because
right?
guys go there on a site 18 months, 24 months. We're at a different site every day. There's a
That's
new
true.
place to
There's a
eat, new coffee shop to go to.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, you're always out meeting people. Even if you're on a job site by yourself, you're still like when in between that time. you're
Why
still
not
out
set up
meeting-
like a barbecue on the back of the truck or something like that?
I have a
My guys have
microwave.
microwaves.
Yeah.
Microwaves are so important.
It is a
Goodness.
must.
Wow.
I get to eat my wife's homemade meals every day when I'm on the truck.
I think
Benefits there.
Yeah, we got microwaves too.
like from a financial standpoint, speaking, I did go to university. That costs a lot of money. Even going to college for a trade costs a lot of money. You don't have to go to college to necessarily be a spray foamer. You have to go to, Foamit's College of Spray Foam. And by the way, they're going to pay you to be there. So I think that,
great
if you
education.
if you get, really good and you're dedicated, you can be making great money without not a lot of money spent,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It does, 100%.
So I think in that sort of sense, it's an attractive career, for guys who don't, can't afford to go the college university route.
So the one thing that we haven't talked about, which I really want to talk to finally that we should, is spray foam technique. Like when they finally do get on the gun, what do you guys
So for us,
want Daniel's-son to reveal there?
we blindfold you.
Spin you around.
Spin you around, eh? Find
Like
the
you're
wall.
hitting a pinata. Oh, you missed the wall. Whap, whap.
No,
Honestly, it's
seriously.
all about how your arm strength is, your wrist strength is. Some guys spray side to side, up and down. They picture frame it. I don't know what chamber size you guys are using or what type of gun. Some guys have CS, some guys have AP.
I understood some of that.
Okay, so
What kind of guns
It's
are
like
you
the-
guys using?
we only use AP. We have every gun pretty much GX7 CS, but we stick to APs with our guys
Okay. Why?
because I have like 30 of them and we just swap
Okay.
them like candy.
You guys too?
Yeah, we're AP Fusion.
Okay. So we're CS. Clear
They're the
shotgun.
type of guns.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got that.
So
Okay.
my gun would use like a disposable lubricant that you would put
So you're
in.
not
Do you
drilling
make
it
your
You're
out.
own?
not drilling.
Do you make your own?
No.
Yeah, so
We used to use them. We used to use them, but it's,
so are your guns disposable unit as well, or no? That's
The
just
gun isn't disposable, but basically they have to drill out to clear
the line.
their
chamber.
their chamber,
chamber,
not
okay.
necessarily the line. But for us, we don't want to drill out because we, technically speaking, have a lubricant that's supposed to do that for us.
And it works. It does that.
We love them. They're lighter.
And you
I
guys
think
don't.
but it's all a preference.
Okay.
No, for me, it's like with all their trucks, I don't want to, like, we only have 2 CS guns. I don't want to buy another 6. So, like,
Yeah.
all the trucks are equipped the same way.
Well, and your operating costs are probably a little bit higher with a CS because you do have that lubricant that you're using on it. With the
Yeah.
APs, I mean, you're going through side seals and you're going through chambers, but it's more maintainable, at least in my opinion, anyways.
We're at a point now, depends, like, when you got new guys, you might go through a gun every hour, every day. But, like, the guns we've had now have been on the gun on the coupling blocks for at least 6 months now.
Every
So we're not
hour, every
swapping.
day.
It just goes. If you don't know how to spray, like, the way they spray, it could ruin the gun real quick.
By what? What are they doing?
I have no idea either the way they're triggering. They're not, like, cleaning it out properly. So
Well-
for us, we've been very successful with AP.
I've had trucks sit on a truck for 6 years, 8 years. You know what I mean? Like
The same gun?
same gun, just
6
change
years.
6 years. I had one gun on my truck.
Oh, but you're swapping out the O-rings and stuff.
Oh, swapping
The
out
chamber.
O-rings. Yeah.
Okay, no, for us, we haven't even opened it. It's been for 6 months now.
For an hour?
No.
No. Oh,
We've been using the same gun, haven't cracked it open, same side seal, same chamber, 6 months.
wow.
But we do swap them at times.
Are you flushing it every night?
No, we do.
No.
If I use a GX7, yeah, I flush it out. But.
Yeah. Oh, 6 months. That's
So our guys are very, like, they keep it running.
yeah.
I'm really happy with it. There's no point in us doing the CS guns.
I mean, me personally, I like to pull apart my gun. Not necessarily
Every
switch.
day?
No, not every day. No, I'd say once a month, just to give everything a quick drill out, make sure everything's nice and clean.
Yeah, your ports do go. That's it.
That's the only thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't change any O-rings unless it looks like they're about to fail on me. And if they're not about to fail, I just rinse everything off, put it back in. Not the night before. This is the morning of. Everything's heating up, And so there's no downtime. You're waiting. You've got your helper or a couple of helpers in the house that are prepping. You're warming up your material. You're tinkering in the back of the truck like you have to. And that's the time I take. It's once a month. Other than that, I'm maintaining other things.
I'm also guilty of if I see the pattern changing, I'm like, let me see how long I can make this last. So I start twisting my arm different ways.
Yes, I'm all over that too. It's actually like a challenge, honestly. That comes into the ego thing. You know what I mean? You got to have an ego. You got to want to
Make it look good.
make it look good. Spray and butter, like everyone says on Instagram.
But it's like the performance of the product, though, whether it looks amazing or it doesn't look as good, as nice, it's still, the performance is still the same. Is that not the case?
Pretty much without, if you get like a, one side in there or it's too thick of a pass, like that will change things. But I mean,
Someone's more likely to question it if it doesn't
If
look
it doesn't look
uniform.
as pretty.
Yeah.
you want it as flat.
Or consistent as possible.
Consistency.
Or
probably.
smooth.
Well,
Okay.
it all comes down to profitability too. If you're thick, like extra thick,
That half
over
inch
here.
going over will eat you away.
Really?
That just a little bit, you could lose money on the job.
So that's the profit margin at that point? Like you're that tight?
majority of your
Depends how
costs-
you calculate your profit margins, really. But we like to calculate all expenses divided by the amount of days we work.
Of course.
And then we don't care how many trucks we do it per day. So if you got 2 trucks going out, we know how much we have to make. If you have 4 trucks going out, we know how much we have to make.
That's where you're coming in, calculating all that stuff on the back end.
Sometimes.
But that's running the business.
Well, most of your costs are material and overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We include insurance, lease rates.
Yeah, we're the same. We include everything. We do a P&L on every single job that we do, whether it's $2,000 or $100,000.
Really? It doesn't matter the size, scope?
Doesn't matter the size.
You're treating it the exact same way.
Yep.
That's very cool.
And for us, we want to know every day, like how much material we want.
But you need that data,
Yeah.
right?
Daily.
Because it's a long game in this business. So you need that data to understand what's going right, what's going wrong.
well, I mean, if you're not doing it on every job, how do you know Larry
Yeah.
didn't overspray it and then went to his buddy's place afterward and sprayed something there? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
This is why we
That
have.
happens.
Yeah, it
Oh,
does.
Hasn't
No, no.
happened to us yet.
There's a lot of mysterious things that happen in construction. Huh?
Listen, that's why we like to train our own. We don't like to hire somebody else's because they're hard to train, and the only thing they bring to the table is their bad habits. But there are guys that go around and they'll steal, 5-gallon pail of material from one side, then the other side, and then just keep racking it up.
But there's an expiration date. No one, like, you can't keep.
How are you
There is,
going to
but
prove
they don't-
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
How are you going to prove it?
have you ever had a glass of milk that was expired by a day or two and
Not
questioned it?
well, I know what it is, but yeah, you look at.
I only don't drink it if there's chunks in it, then I'll stop.
It's like anything. Like, I mean, you look at an expiry date, and sometimes it's the best before date. And I had a bag of milk a week ago. It didn't expire for 8 days, but I went to pour it into my cereal. I wasn't eating that cereal after that.
Oh.
I mean, it's not. Honestly, I haven't ran into any problems with Elasticem's foam where it's before the expiry date. I mean, we only buy enough material to, keep us working for a
That's
certain
part of
amount
You're
your
of time.
probably
business,
done in a week
exactly.
anyways. You
Yes,
get the next
exactly.
batch.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to know how much you're putting out and account for that, and then order new material so it's always fresh chemical coming in, because the fresher the chemical, the better it tastes. I mean, well, sorry, not the better it tastes, but sorry, that was leading into my next
Chocolate.
analogy.
Chocolate.
That was leading into my next analogy.
He has a
Like,
black belt in spray foam. Like he's tasted.
Well, think about like the grocery store. When you go to the grocery store and you buy, let's say, an apple, do you think that apple was picked yesterday?
No, of course not.
It's probably at least a week old, let's say 7 to 10 days old, and majority of your nutrients that you're getting out of an apple are gone by, let's say, 2 weeks. So if you buy it and you put it on your counter and you say eat one the next day, you're getting all those nutrients, yes. But if you pick it right from the source, you're getting X amount more.
No, I get it. I totally understand it. I want to go right back a tiny bit to energy efficiency. I know that the first house that I did, and I did it with foam, we actually hit a 0.06 ACH, right? Which I was thoroughly impressed, but there was a lot of work involved to do it.
Wow,
to get
man,
to
that's
that point.
impressive, actually.
No, even the guys, the building consultants that I hired to actually educate me, to run me through the gamut of what I needed to do, and there was a lot of caulking and dapping and taping and preparing stuff, and then we finally did the foam. And then once they did the second test regarding after the foam was done, they were shocked themselves that I achieved the 0.06, and I was like going, that's actually a pretty good number. Do you guys get involved with that? Are you ever asked to come back and even get a rating of what the structures you guys have done?
We just went through one. They did it before. It was 7 air changes per hour. We think we'll get it below 2.
Which is basically...
But we haven't done the after test yet. I think it'll be ready in the next month or 2.
The same with you
But
guys?
anything under 2 is good.
Yeah. No, we some of our builders, they love this new product called Aero Barrier.
Yeah, they were on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really cool
I've
stuff.
seen the science, and I was like, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I've been on sites, and like it's so basically the client,
It's like, where do you want to be?
money.
You got
How
a
much you
dial.
want to spend?
Exactly, yeah.
They wanted to spend a lot, so we foamed the entire thing. They did the blower door test, went great. They still wanted to do the Aero Barrier after, and the builder called me after, and they're like, we're really impressed because we didn't use a lot of the actual Aero Barrier produit. I'm like,
Which
good, that's how,
means-
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how it's supposed to
The
be.
foam worked really well.
Exactly. But it itself, like you can see it, like actually we noticed it mostly around windows, which is really
That's
cool.
kind of where there would be majority of it. That would
Yeah.
be any kind of mechanical terminations and
Yeah.
how they're handled.
But I think they went into thinking it's my test, it's testing me, but it actually also tested the window manufacturer
course
as well,
it did.
which was cool because there were many like little holes in their windows that they never would have realized were there.
I think it's a great product to use for any new
Yeah.
construction builds because it actually gives you a really fair test evaluation of what's being done, right?
Totally, yeah.
Well, there's nothing more frustrating than when you go and you foam a job and say, it's winter time, so they want to seal everything up before winter comes. So you go and you're spraying the entire job. You put 2 inches on everything so that they can heat it for the winter. And then you come back, you finish the job. You know that there's going to be your exhausts that go out the wall and everything like that. And then you come back and they're like, oh, you missed this spot. No, I didn't miss that spot. You cut it out.
Why would I have cut that out?
So they're pointing to a mechanical hole that was made for something.
It just wants
or
some
a
free
wire that
foam,
was
really.
missed.
Yeah.
The free foam, that's all it is.
And at the end of the day, you're not just going to be like, you owe me an extra $10 for that one little spot. You're just going to foam it because it's not worth the hassle.
But that one little spot, you're sending a truck, 2 or 3 guys, the company's out plus lost income.
That's where it's profitability and business.
Well, it'll take longer to set that truck up
Yeah.
than to actually put the foam in the wall
Yeah.
at that point.
So it's not beneficial, and then for them, if it's their fault, they should just eat it. That's all it is. But if you guys have to come back for a
Nobody's eating that.
callback, nobody.
Like, how do you explain to someone, actually, that little square is going to be $1,000?
It would have been taken care of if it was done when it was supposed to be done, right?
Yeah.
So foam wise, you guys could do any surface in a building structure, right? Attic, walls, basement. I mean, I personally,
envelope, yeah.
I've done underneath the basement slab. I've done hot roof. I've done all the wall assemblies. But I mean, you can do any kind. And then there's also combinations where you guys can also do hybrid systems where it's a combination of foam and cellulose, or no?
No.
Not
I don't-
cellulose.
We don't do
touch it.
hybrid.
Not sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, we
Oh,
won't.
you guys won't do a system like that, no?
No.
But then on an attic though, you if you want to foam the attic, then you put in the blown in.
We'll would do like a 2-inch pass for the
Yes,
vapor barrier
yeah.
and then load in the fiber. Yeah, sure.
We're
for
actually
sure.
doing
That's
one
what I was.
Yes.
That's what I meant by
Yeah.
that.
I've
yeah.
done cathedral ceilings where, cost was a bit of an issue, so they didn't want to do all foam. So to give ourselves a backer, we used fiberglass and foamed onto fiberglass, which, I mean, you're going to get a vapor barrier as long as you're spraying the right amount. So it's fiberglass and then the spray foam. We don't like to do it. We'd rather install like a cardboard backer and spray onto the cardboard, but it's something we have done in the past.
Did that have to be explained to the inspector or no?
No. Well, I mean, I explained it to the customer, and I hope they explained it to the inspector, but I have not ever had an issue. Usually they just see foam and they're like, it's good to go.
It's done. But I mean, I remember you telling me, Mo,
I
that
had to rip off. I plugged the soffits with fiberglass, and the building inspector, and it was like on a second story, made us rip it out and go from the outside and spray in.
Come on.
Honestly,
Are you
To get
serious?
that, really?
yeah. Adam Luffman came with me.
Why?
The inspector didn't pass it.
Attaboy.
Back to that. I'm gonna do what he wants us to do. I thought it was pointless too, and
We do that regularly. You need a backer. You don't want it to spray out into the soffits on the outside of the house.
I'm with you.
overspray
I'm
windows.
with you 100%. The guy made us.
Is
rip
it,
him
it's,
out.
it's still not worth challenging.
Yeah. What am I gonna do?
Well, do a test or something like that. No, you can't do a test to prove that you don't.
What do we do? We're gonna delay the project 2 months now. It becomes a pissing contest.
Honestly, a lot of times I tell my customer, you need to refer to your building inspector. See what they want.
Same here. We say the same thing. And black and white. Email them. Not like he said, she said.
Yeah, they have to have. You have to have it documented because these days people, you didn't tell me that.
Or
You
like
mean-
they'll say something, then they'll talk to another superior, and they're like, "Oh crap, I said the wrong thing. I'll just pretend I didn't say it." Because no one's
Gotta love
being
construction.
accountable. Yeah.
Gotta love construction.
So you guys are still foaming to cardboard? That's still a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have like pieces of cardboard you can get that are have tabs and they're fitted to 24-inch and 16-inch centers.
Same thing with you guys? Yeah, no, we don't do it.
I'd prefer like plywood. That's what I would prefer.
We have it.
Nothing
Yeah.
cardboard.
Yeah, but there's this new product, AccuVent. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Out of the States.
Okay.
Doesn't have a CCMC number in Canada, but
Not
we
yet.
can get it.
Okay.
So I've been talking to these guys, and I'm like, hey, can you like
Oh,
get
to
us some
spray
testing?
onto on a
Yeah,
vaulted
so
ceiling?
instead of the cardboard.
So what's it made
Oh
out
no,
of?
we only do hot roofs. We don't do cool roofs.
Oh, okay. You don't do vented roofs.
No, always hot, right on the sheathing.
Okay.
I'm actually a fan of hot roof over vented roof. I never
It's-
understood of like, let's bring all the code into this area here.
I agree.
I have yet to see shingles last 30 or 50 years.
No, they don't. They don't. And Mother Nature.
and that's
looks-
what. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Like, so even
Yeah.
one side's deteriorating
It's
10 years
expensive.
earlier, it's you got to redo it. You're not going to just re-shingle one side of the roof, right? No, I agree with you. But I mean, like a hot roof will actually, I think personally, make them last longer.
I'm with you 100%.
When you get into like a vented roof, if it's not done properly and you're not a part of the process, you can run into a lot more problems than if you do hot roof.
Technically speaking, a vented roof is a mechanical system of itself.
Correct.
And if it's not properly vented a certain way, you can't move the air that needs to circulate to
There's
exit.
always something in the
Yeah.
way. It's never continuous.
Well, especially with custom residential, right? Like all your valleys, right? Like you're not moving air because you don't have
No.
the stack effect.
No.
And again, like where we are, everything's going a lot more modern. So roof pitches are all below 412. Well, you don't have the
If
stack
not, they're
effect.
flat.
You'd have to
If-
spray
yeah.
foam the
No,
roof line.
exactly. But it's funny because where we are, hot roofs got such a bad name. I don't know if it's before my time with installers doing a really terrible job.
Hot roofs are hugely popular in the southern states.
Oh, huge.
Hugely
In fact,
popular.
like you can go on, there's this one girl on Instagram. It's called Building Science Fight Club. It's really good. No, she's really good. And she
The
advocates.
first rule of Building Science Fight Club,
yeah.
you do
And
not
she-
talk about it. All
And
right.
she advocates for all custom homes should be hot roofs.
I would
I
agree with that.
agree with it.
Yeah,
a
no, so do
but
I.
it's not the consensus up here.
It is not.
I can give you a
And
perfect
so-
example.
ahead.
So we went into a house. It was about 2 years ago when we first got called in. Custom home, pool inside the home, indoor pool.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
It's our
High
favorite.
humidity.
So yeah. So we didn't do the job originally, but we got called in because it was an insurance claim. He had mold in his attic. So we started diagnosing the problem. We started in the main house, and then
That would go rampant through the whole house.
it went through the entire attic of the entire house.
Yeah, that would do that.
So we started in the main house and we had to work our way down. What it ended up being was in the pool house, the guys that originally foamed it, they left literal pockets that were open to the pool room, which was sending all that hot, humid air right up through, and there was a channel. So it led all the way up to the attic. And basically we had to rip it all out, and then you're working in a finished pool room. So, you're doing the best you can, but at one point I think it was 24 feet to the ceiling.
What did you guys put all your tools on the Speedo? It was hot in there.
Jump right
Like,
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were working on it in the wintertime. So me wearing glasses every time I walk outside.
Whoa.
Yeah. But I think like bottom line is, at least for us, like when we get a set of permit drawings, if that permit drawing says it's vented, we're venting her.
You know what? It's a slippery. I've had this like discussions with inspectors. Even though it was drawn, it was stated, it was stamped. This is what's going to happen. It was building consulted. The inspector still pulls up a red flag and goes, "No, that's not the way the OBC is designed, and that's not how you still a flat roof application. You have to vent. You have to somehow make this air travel." And I'm like, "To where? Like you've got LVLs going on everywhere. You've got protrusions that are stopping you from properly venting. And so, other than building another roof on top of the roof to just solely provide the venting of it." But now you can't do that because you've got a height restriction on your exit door to go onto the roof.
Are you putting a fan in there to push that air?
That's what I mean. So it's like you keep arguing at that point. But I mean, it's solved by hot roof technique.
I know. And I think for us, like as industry leaders, if you will, it's our job to just state what we know what will happen. And we have it like right on our quotes and our contracts for, hot roof and vented roof applications. And at the end of the day, if the architect or the designer or the building inspector wants a vented roof, like it's like the same argument. Like if you're a 1/4 inch light, you have to come back and spray that 1/4 inch. Like you have to do it their way.
We have it even on our quotes. There's a 1/2 inch tolerance. Well, nobody cares.
We have a 1/4 inch on ours. Yeah.
Nobody cares. It's got to be what you quoted me.
Yeah. I was going to say something about building inspectors, but I just left it alone. I wanted to ask you guys, what's the biggest bone to pick regarding the industry?
Can we figure out an R value?
It's a good one.
Like why are we all different?
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're at like 10 point nothing per inch.
Well, I mean, and I know it. I know it has nothing to do with Elasticam, but when this foam originally came out, it was an R7, and then somewhere along the way, it went back down to an R6.
How did that magically happen?
They've been changing the testing procedures at the National Research Council of Canada.
So that's what's been going on?
Yeah, they changed the procedure, and then all of a sudden the R value changes every year or so.
Would it be competition towards fiberglass or something, or is that like...
I forgot who pushed for it, but...
I think it was the fiberglass guys, but yeah, I mean, we're jumping through all these hoops. We're doing our spins. We're doing our twirls, but we got to fall in line.
Is it because you guys are producing the product on site and they're not?
I don't think it is.
No?
Realistically, if you think about it, you don't get the same density all the time. Normally it's higher, so it should be a higher R
Yeah, there's
value.
a fluctuation, right? But you guys are testing
and then,
batches, right?
When we're doing the density test, we keep the skin on it. I mean, the skin off it, but when you're spraying it on, you have multiple layers of skin, so it's even higher.
Yeah.
And no one adds that to the factor.
And then it's up to you guys now.
To get the right depth, that's what it comes down to in the end.
To prove them right.
You know what? A point I forgot to bring up when we were talking about application. So if I were to go and spray 3 inches of foam, I'm going to get better yield. So that's more profitability. That's why these guys are spraying it like that, because if they spray 3 inches of foam, those cells that are built up inside of your spray foam, they're going to slightly elongate, and that's where it's going to create those pockets, and the sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't, but that's where you get the bad rap. These guys are looking at bottom line and bottom line only. We're standing behind our product. We're not going to scoff at you because you cut something out of the wall. We're going to show up. We're going to make sure that you're happy, and then we move on. Yes, maybe we lost our shirt on this job, but you're going to know that we came back to do the job and make sure you were happy with that job, so that the next time you call us back.
I mean, going back to the R value, I agree with you that if you're going to put such restrictions or strict restrictions on you guys, then it should be placed on everybody that's involved. Because how many times do we see structures being built where it's with bat and vapor barrier? And I've seen the junior guy who's on TikTok tuck taping TikTok taping, and not properly.
5 times fast now.
Yeah, they're not properly doing it right. So then there's all kinds of gaps. Like you'll when you do it. How many times as a GC you opened up something and you're like, oh look, there's no TikTok taping going on there, right? It's like it's a big hole. It's
Can I
just a
get a box
void.
of that?
Yeah, I know.
Not only that, they don't.
That's
even,
hard to say. Everyone can say that if you want.
Any
TikTok,
penetration
tape.
that's been made into the roof, they don't even fill those gaps up, caulk it in, put can foam.
Technically speaking, you're supposed to tape every staple that's securing a poly. You are, to meet standards. I've never seen that done at all once. Because it makes it like you
No, I'm with you 100%.
Technically speaking, the moment that you break that poly, you've made a hole in the system now, the building system. But you guys are creating, that's what I mean. So if there's,
Hey, listen.
what are you guys smiling at, man?
No, I'm laughing because how do you think you put up the drywall? It's
No, that's
rail,
what I
and
mean.
You're screwing right
I
through the
know,
vapor barrier,
but
and you never get it. Like you're always gonna miss a few.
You will. That's what I'm saying. I know.
We know that, and we tell people that, and some people listen, and some people do not.
I also think because we also install what's like the bib system, the blown-in blanket system, quite a bit, and
Do you use fiberglass or cellulose?
fiberglass.
Okay.
I think only certainty.
I do not use cellulose. That's just my professional opinion. But fiberglass only. But
bibs.
For bibs. Yeah.
How about for attics? Fiberglass too,
Yeah.
and not cellulose.
Not cellulose.
I like to know your thought process.
Yeah,
behind
me
that.
too. I'm
We're strictly cellulose.
Really?
we are too.
Should we discuss our thought processes?
Yeah,
here?
I like to hear
Okay.
your point.
My point for fiberglass?
Yeah.
For us, like the settling thing is a big issue. It's also nicer to install. And I think at least where we are, the clients are willing to pay for the fiberglass.
Am I
We
wrong
also-
to say that fiberglass has more settling than cellulose, or is it the other way around?
Less settling. for
Has
fiberglass.
less settling.
Less. Like with cellulose, correct me if I'm wrong, I think your R value is higher, but you have to install a lot more of it for it to maintain, like for example, R60.
12% more.
Yeah, it says 15.9 or 17.8 for our 60. When that's what we do. We keep our measuring tapes at
Yeah.
18 inches, so we give the clients more.
So we installed 22 inches, and obviously it doesn't settle. I think the other argument for us is that fiberglass, you can move it a lot easier than you can move cellulose. And in these custom homes, a lot of things change down the line. Phase 1, phase 2.
That never happens.
That never happens. So the guys like fiberglass a lot more. Obviously in slope ceilings and in walls, again, you're settling. And that for me is a massive issue with the longevity of a home.
I've seen thermal
Like,
cams. I've been
it's-
holding the thermal cam when I've seen the settling.
Yeah. I mean, like in an attic, you can make an argument for it, 100%. But
We
in-
normally do flats. We don't do vaulted
We
ceilings.
don't
with
do
cellulose.
vaulted ceilings.
Okay, well
either.
that's
But
not
if
good.
there's
So
a
then we're
vaulted
not
ceiling
really
and
arguing about
somebody-
anything
if somebody
here.
batted it,
We're not arguing. We're
For us,
discussing.
We're listening to the thought process.
But
Yes.
I mean, for us, because we are like, do you guys blow walls? Do you guys blow ceilings?
We only do retrofit.
I've done that before,
Yeah.
We'll do it
and
where
we've
we're
had settling. That's why I was saying the camera.
With fiberglass?
No, cellulose.
Yeah. So we don't blow cellulose. We blow fiberglass.
It
in
was
walls.
a challenge. It was an extreme challenge.
I actually push foam if we're going to do a drill and fill,
yeah, me too.
because you use an open cell foam, there's no settling. You use a thermal imaging camera. You can look at a wall. You can see every single stud. You can see every single.
I love those cameras.
They're amazing, and some people want to use cellulose, and we tell them there will be settling at the top of the wall eventually. It may not be today. It may not be next year, but there will be.
Yeah. That's why we don't blow it. But we will blow fiberglass in a wall.
I will.
It does
Yeah, I
not
agree
settle.
that it is inevitable that it will settle. It just happens. And so now you've got a void in the cavity that's supposed to be a building system, right?
Are you
Correct.
talking about cellulose?
Yes.
Okay.
Or any blown-in material that goes into a wall cavity.
That's where I disagree. Like I've opened up walls where we've blown in fiberglass.
And it's never settled?
No, because you have
How far down?
probably like 20 years. This was
Really?
on so we came in, it was a retrofit. Another company installed the blown in insulation 20 years ago.
Okay.
And then we came in, did the retrofit. I ripped the drywall off the wall.
And it was still,
Totally fine.
wow. That's
And so
impressive.
we use density meters. So we actually put it on the stud cavity. We make sure that it reads like, no less than 1.2. And it's a great product.
That's impressive.
But I think it's better. Like, I love spray foam. Like, I will advocate for spray foam 10 times. But at the same time, when people are more budget conscious but don't want to do bats, this is a good middle.
Okay.
But I have noticed in our industry, fiberglass, Roxol going up, and spray foam obviously coming down.
See,
That's because you guys do everything. We don't touch
yeah.
bats.
we don't do bats.
We're busy every day
We don't do
with
bats
spray
either,
foam.
but the bib system is a way to kind of get the client in the door.
We don't do bib or bats ourselves. We're
Strictly spray foam.
mechanical install.
We're bib certified, but we don't even push it.
I mean,
It's a huge system.
the big thing that I
Muskoka
see coming down
that
the
people
line.
use.
The big thing I see coming down the line is a lot more people are calling for dense pack cellulose.
I know, because of the passive home thing. It's green. But like, again, it's the argument that like the house gets certified as passive, right? Because it meets all these requirements. But then in 5 years or 10 years,
It's not going to meet
it's not.
It's not
And
gonna
it's
meet it.
not a home that's going to last 100
That's
years.
what I have a problem with, is that there's a lot of things that are being pushed because they're being creative about how they're pushing them,
Yeah.
but they're not benefiting the whole structure. And I want to look at the whole structure. And in my opinion, it's a bunch of moving parts from different companies that are coming together to build that proper structure.
Now, I have found that if you have the right applicator when it comes to dense pack cellulose, you can have it where there is minimal, if any, settling. Because
We will see it like in 20 years. If you start seeing like stud streaking,
Yep.
pop, nail pop streaking, that like all that stuff, then you know that there's a hole in there at that point, right?
Yep.
And then what does that do for your building envelope, the whole envelope? That's why I was asking about, you guys are spray foaming the attics, walls, underneath slabs, you're doing everything, right? So it's like the basic way to explain it, the way that I was taught early in my days of construction, was you're creating a cooler, the top and everything. You're sealing it completely, and that's how it works. And it does. And that's how I was able to achieve 0.06 on my first house, ACH, right? Which is impressive. I was told it was impressive. So I just, like, you do certain things to get that. But I think that there's a creative marketing sometimes on certain products that will educate. That's where the customer is confused, I guess, with Google building. They're being told that this is the best thing you can do because they're just like pushing this out there. And I'm like, oh, have you built it? Have you used it? Have you
Lived in it?
Yeah, that's the other thing. And if you haven't, so it's just like until you achieve that on hand, like boots on the ground experience, like you guys have experienced it, they won't know. So I won't, it's not that I'm going to be disrespectful and say, well, listen, you don't know anything you're talking about, but I've been there, I've done that, and I've experienced it. So I'm just giving you my 2 cents. That's what I was just going with it. No, it was good to bring that up and discuss it.
Yeah, no,
So,
I mean, for us, again, like the passive home thing, the green home thing is becoming a big trend where we are. The breathable membranes, I don't know if you guys
Yeah, I'm a fan of the breathable membranes
like
too,
the
but
smart vapor barriers.
yeah,
and
but
the
you
zip
gotta.
system
It's also okay cost, and I go back to that carbon footprint starts from the conception of that product.
totally.
Doesn't start from the time someone grabs it off the shelf in the retail store. It doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't. So you have to factor in all that, and we can get into a whole other argument about 2 letters out there, but I'm not going to get into that argument because that's not what the show's about, right? I'm talking about EV. So it's interesting to say that, but that now you guys, like, that's what you guys deal with on a daily business. It's part of your business model now, because now you're educating clients and GCs, and I see it that you've got a lot of young tradespeople that want to absorb as much knowledge as possible, but I think sometimes they're being told a mixed bag of knowledge, and then they're confused themselves. And I think until you try it on your own structure, you try it in a building, or you work with somebody on the structure, you won't really know how it works. I will take a site in seasonal conditions over a lab test any day on any product, because we know what happens on a site. We don't know what happens in a lab, but it's nice and easy to make a lab make it work for the numbers that you want to try to achieve, right?
Well, there was a company out there. They had a house insulated, and they insulated one cavity with spray foam, or a couple of cavities with spray foam. They insulated a couple with fiberglass, a couple with rock wool, just to show the difference. And that's something I want to have in my office. Like, you have the heat lamp test where you've got fiberglass, you've got cellulose, you've got spray foam. You can see the difference just right then and there using a heat gun, just to show the transfusion of that heat and the energy and the conduction of the materials. People just don't. I don't know why people can't just.
Yeah, foundations will be ICF, and then we'll foam those rim joists. But I think like with the ICF, it is limiting in terms of design. So at least in our market, you're not seeing it really past the foundation stage.
Electricians despise ICF.
Oh, because they have to become gophers now. They're like tunneling, right?
Yeah,
They have
and
to.
the mess. I mean, they already leave a mess.
Yeah.
They're allergic to brooms.
We're getting close to wrapping it up, but I just wanted to, did we cover everything? We covered quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys, I guess the other big question that always comes up on this show is like, how do we attract more people into trades?
I know for us, like I sit as a director on the Muskoka Builders Association.
Oh.
And so this coming year, like one of our initiatives is to go into high schools. So the Gravenhurst High School, for example, we're doing a big trade week in October and pretty much bringing in skilled trades, unskilled trades to do little presentations on the end of the week. We'll do like a big trade fair. Georgian College comes in and talks to us, and we do builders breakfasts, or that's the plan this year, with those trades, with also the students to try and recruit them.
What's on the breakfast menu?
I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know though.
Sour milk with Cheerios.
No.
Like we,
This is great, Simone. Honestly, that's amazing.
we definitely have a very small, like we're 6,000 people. I think just over 6,000 people in Muskoka. And, a lot of those kids go away to go to school because I don't think they realize that they can make really good money where they live. Now, if they want to get out of Muskoka, totally fine. And maybe they go and live in Toronto and spray foam for Foamit, right? Like, there's options.
They're going to get killed by the rent prices.
Foamit University. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the
Rent is really high in Muskoka, too, if you can even find a place to live. So,
build it first.
Well, this is why we're...
Build it and they will come. But
Yeah.
First things first, it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I think it's just a shift in society's thinking because, me going through high school, I'm in my 30s. If you're going to college, you're dumb. You shouldn't be going to college.
You're not good enough.
You're not good enough. You should be going to university.
Well, I like it being called a 4-year vacation. That's what I've heard it
Well,
called.
not everyone's the same, but I went to school with a number of people that went to university for a Bachelor of Arts. And maybe you want to get into the arts, and maybe you just want to go to the university to party. I don't know. I didn't go to university myself. I got into spray foam when I was 19. And my thinking on it wasn't the way the school system looks at it. It was, my family looks at a hard day's work as a hard day's pay, and you need to be satisfied that you've done a job right. You don't want to do a job twice. So, if you're working and you're providing for your family, that's all that matters. You're doing an honest job. That's how we should look at it. These days you see someone doing whatever job it is, and it's like, oh, I wouldn't want to do that. What does it matter? He's providing for his family. He's out there working. It shouldn't matter what you do. You don't need to post on Instagram or Facebook or X or whatever they're calling it these days, and feel ashamed because you're cleaning porta potties or anything like that. You're providing for your family, and the society looks at it like, oh well, that's disgusting. Who cares?
Society's still trying to figure out what to look at. Like, everything is changing so quickly, but the one thing that's not changing is the need for people in trades. AI hasn't replaced that yet, and it's going to be a long ways off before you start getting any kind of major AI tech replacing certain. I can see, I don't know, AI machinery dropping a foundation in there, but someone still has to excavate it. right? And then I can see some modular walls going on, but someone has to still create fine cabinetry and do some trim work and stuff like that. So it's like I can see some of it, but not all of it. Whether and the difference is that the rest of the world is already being influenced by AI. It's already changing completely every kind of job out there. We've all seen that with Photoshop, and we've seen it with all kinds of stuff. Everything's changing. You guys have any thoughts on how do we attract more kids coming into? Are your kids going to get into the industry?
I was going to ask that.
Our job is just to guide them in the direction they want to flow into.
Yeah.
It's a great parental advice.
But I could tell my daughter and my son are very hands-on.
They're hands-on, right? So they might get into the trade somehow, whether it's foaming or not, but they might get into the trade somehow.
I mean, I don't think you could tell at that age.
No.
But I think
support them.
I think parents, like at least my parents, probably your parents too, yours, like it was like, oh no, don't go into trades because you can do better.
Yeah.
Like you can be a doctor, you could be a lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Growing up, that's all you would hear.
No, that's all you would hear because that's what they did. Like my mom's side, my grandfather was an immigrant from Germany. He was in steel. So the last thing he wanted his daughter to do was go and work in steel. Like he wanted her to be a businesswoman or, and I think that has kind of screwed us up a little because then the school system has caught that too. It's like, oh yeah, like send them to university, get them an education so they can do better than their parents. And it's like, well, no, you can make I know that I make better money than some of my friends who work downtown Toronto.
Is it like a misconception for this younger generation deciding whether to get into trades or whether to get into university education because they're being taught university education is a 6-figure deal, right? Where it's a loan or it's borrowed from mom and dad or whatever, or scholarship. And they automatically assume that as soon as they finish that education, they're going to be that much closer to getting a 6-figure job.
There's like
That's actually,
But that's not true.
10,000 times more of them now.
But that's not
because
true.
they're all doing it.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique about what they're doing.
Versus getting into trades, you spend what on education? If you find someone like yourselves,
Spray
Nothing.
foam, you have no upfront costs.
Yeah, so
I provide
just be
everything for
punctual.
my-
Yeah.
You just gotta
maybe show up.
Yeah.
Smile
And
a
then
little.
you're starting to make X amount, and then all of a sudden, your second year, you start making more. So it's like tortoise and hare kind of thing. They think they're going to be that hare doing the university, and I'm going to get a 6-figure job somehow in the next 5 years. But you still have to pay off that 6 figures that you already.
By the
put
time you
towards.
catch up to our guy in the 4th year, I don't think that person that went to university and had to spend $100K out of their own pocket is going to catch up to our guy.
I don't think so either. I agree with you.
And a lot of those kids that are doing their university, there's been so many of them we know they've just dropped out. So
They
now
don't finish it.
No, they don't finish it. So now they've got that debt behind them. They've got no education, and they're lost. They don't know what to do.
And nobody does what they studied.
No.
Political science.
yeah, accounting.
You ever
Well,
bring
and
it up on the
business.
job site? You ever bring it up on the job site?
No.
That'd be
They're like, where
interesting.
did you study? I'm like, well, my father. Since I was 12. School of Dad.
Good professor.
I also
The
think
best.
I think it's all also rooted in the school system in the fact that we're not stopping people from progressing even though they're not putting in the right effort. Because, when we were growing up, it didn't happen as often as, maybe your generation, but they
I may be the oldest here at this table. Yeah.
but they actually failed people.
Yeah.
You didn't put the effort in. You shouldn't be pushed along to the next grade. It should be you need to put the effort in and then you pass.
Yes.
If you do not put the effort in, you should not pass.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're embarrassed that you failed the grade. You're not helping them by pushing them through to the next grade because they're going to realize they can do as little as possible and they're still going to get by.
But the whole educational process is not educating the kids properly. They're not being educated on a number of things that they should be educated
Taxes.
on. All kinds of.
Oh,
there's a number. of
Even in
things.
university, they're like, no, we don't teach you how to pay your taxes. I'm like, well, it's a life skill.
We don't teach life skills.
I saw a politician recently.
No, we don't.
I saw a politician recently talk about how if we brought more people into trades, the price of housing would go down. Is that a truth or is that BS?
False.
That's interesting.
Because as soon as they do that, municipalities increase the upfront cost.
I think the housing price is just going to continue to climb. I don't think it's ever going to drop.
No.
So that just makes it more difficult for people who can't afford it to even get into it. So then it becomes the society that we have right now. So even if we had that fill of what they say, it's like, whatever, we're missing 10,000 new tradespeople every month that we need to get into this industry. That pricing is still going to be at where it's going to be because there's a lot of profit associated with all that pricing. There's a reason why all these towers are being built, right? Because that's what people can only afford. You're talking about $1 million, 500 square foot condo units. Well, $1.5 million if you had a parking spot. It's a sad reality.
And you got to pay maintenance fees.
And maintenance fees that are going to probably be greater
$1,000,
than your mortgage,
correct,
possibly, for a building structure that is already anticipating failure. So
usually they're out of funds within the first 3 years of getting ownership of that building.
So yeah, I was just curious about how to it makes sense to me, but you can't speak to a generation that's being bombarded by AI, by social media, by all kinds of different possibilities. Being a local celebrity that turns into, like I just saw recently, No Way, that guy that is on TikTok, whatever, No Way. Like he just finds certain things. He's got a whole store that he opened up and he's got all kinds of merch. So everyone's kind of just like, let me see how I can merchandise this stuff, right? And make some money from that instead of actually
a hard day's labor.
Yeah. Why work a hard day when you can just coast through it?
Well, it's bad when you can just look on the internet and look and see some YouTuber, like a kid, opening up a toy and just testing out the toy. And
one in tens of millions of kids.
But everyone thinks that they can.
I know, but that's one in tens of millions of kids, right? That's the optometrist that these people are looking at, right?
Isn't that what social media is?
Yeah, it is 100%. All right. We use it for business. We use it for exposure. We use it for all kinds of stuff.
For educational purposes.
But not everybody's making a healthy living off of that.
Quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
It's a
You're spending a lot.
investment.
Yeah, there's a lot of investment attached to it, right? So that's it. Just all right. Any thoughts? Last minute. Like, I love doing these shows because it's I love that. I almost want to say talks amongst yourselves because you guys are picking each other's brains, right? I love seeing that because I truly feel that everybody that's been on the show doesn't look at the next person as competition. They look at it as they're part of the community and they're working together to make the industry better. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. You guys are technically speaking competition, but you guys are not competition, right? You guys respect each other in the industry. You respect the businesses you've grown and the product and the service that you provide to clients out there, right? So that's really valuable. And that's the message that I always want to give out to everybody, like especially a young person listening that wants to get started. Totally agree with all you guys. Do not get into foam now because of the economy, what's going on.
Ownership.
You're going to.
Like, don't start a foam business.
You can come work for us.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can come work for us. Yeah,
exactly.
Feel free.
Always
We
hiring.
started it up for you.
Learn and then and even offer the option of like, listen, get your own division. We'll get you started and you'll be a part of us and all this other stuff, right? That makes a lot of sense. So then they don't have to do all the heavy lifting you guys did.
Well, it's like any trade. I mean, if you find somebody that's been in the industry, like an old guy that has been doing
like me.
You're old.
But
Thought we weren't admitting that.
Okay, let's go seasoned. You got a little salt and pepper there.
There we go. There we go. Season.
And you learn from them. Like, we've lost the aspect of walking into a room with an open mind.
Yeah.
We need to be able to be taught, because even though I might have a wealth of knowledge, that wealth of knowledge is nothing compared to, everyone in this room when it comes to a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Muhammad, he probably could teach me a number of things, and I could teach him a couple of things. And same with Simone, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Emma, whatever you like.
Yeah. like there's so many things that you could teach me. And the problem is we need to learn how to communicate with people and be open-minded to being proven wrong and to be able to grow. Because if we grow, it only makes us better.
Yeah.
And not enough people are open-minded.
I guess one last question for everybody. What are the thoughts about getting out of the business when you have to hand it off to somebody else, or what's going to happen when that day finally comes years from now for you guys, next week for me?
Like, how do you value a spray foam company?
I think there's value to anything
Is that
that's
what you're
grown.
talking about? Like an exit strategy?
Yeah, what's your exit strategy? Like, is it going to be handed off to somebody else? Is it going to be just they last?
That's not on our 10-year horizon.
That's not even on a 10-year.
No.
Okay. You guys?
No, not even close.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But you got to think one day that it's going to have to be handed off to somebody else. Like, I mean,
We've had someone knock on our door, and we politely said no. I think that
they should have rang the doorbell.
Some flowers.
I don't think they were in it for the right reasons.
Got it. Okay, I understand.
But, you know, for us, like, or for me, I'm just getting started. Like, we don't just do spray foam. We do like 5 other things too.
Comfort.
So this is what we're supposed to be doing, I think, right? I mean, as for like when I turn 50 and I want to spend my summers in Florida,
34 years from now.
my summers and my winters in Florida, I don't know. I think, like I said, it would have to be a very large spray foam company to buy to buy you guys.
People have come to our door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People want to buy the company, but
Not knowing how tough it is to run the company.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just it's not in the cards. I mean, you have to have an open mind to everything, but at the end of the day, you need to know what you want. If you're going to listen to those offers, you have to be willing to say yes or no and be your own investment in yourself. So if at the end of the day you lose the passion, you know, say 7 years from now, even though it's not in the 10-year plan, you might be selling.
You never know.
You never know.
We have responsibility to our team. Like, we want them to live their
Yep.
best lives as well. So that's kind of what our passion is.
But one of them taking over it?
That could be an idea. Like, if they have open, like if they want
Maybe
to
one
talk
of his
about something
kids
like
want to
that.
take over.
Maybe.
That's what I did.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know. I can't wait to tell my daughter about that, actually.
It's a really good life. Like as we all know, it's a good life.
Work hard, play hard. I mean, I have four children. You know what I mean? I have 4 daughters, and if
I have 0, so
He's pushing. He's pushing. for another
What does that? What does that mean exactly? When you
Take note, baby.
okay.
Take note.
2 more. 2
he
more.
really wants you out, eh?
No,
He just wants to take over the whole show.
But-
He's asking
Sorry.
every day. Another one. Another one.
but when you know, at the end of the day, if my daughter comes up to me and says, "Hey, Dad, I want to come to work with you," I'm not going to say no. You know what I mean? I want them to be successful. I want them to be able to provide for themselves. If that's the choice they want, okay, great. I'm going to show you everything I know. You need to listen. You need to pay attention. If they're not listening, I'm not afraid to fire my own daughter. You know what I mean? Like,
You got to start at the bottom. Like, it's the same.
That's a tough fire, huh?
it is. But at the end of the day, I mean, I can remember growing up, my dad giving me shit because I didn't do something right.
Of course.
And it's go back and do it again. And that's got to be instilled from a young age. It's not just you start at some point. You know what I mean? You're teaching responsibility. And I like to think I'm raising good children.
Start them young.
But, you know, it's all about putting the time in. You're investing in your children every minute you spend with them.
Damn, I had one last question to ask you guys.
You got to get her correcting E24 errors. That's what I used to have to do.
Use a hydraulic. I always like the transducer problems.
My dad would be like, hand me the gun and be like, here, clean this. Like, rip it apart, clean it.
I was gonna say we should get a cleaning the guns.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
If you guys need ideas, feel free.
I know, right?
We'll have
They
them
just
all.
don't. They don't have
do
nitro
next?
dust for kids.
They've got small respirators.
Do they really?
Yes.
If I were
Really?
to do a room like that, I'd have like air sucking out.
Yeah. Negative airflow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a huge thing for my dad to like get over that for me, like sending me on a foam truck
Yeah.
and like knowing what is on a foam truck and what it entails. Like it every day he'd ask, did you wear your respirator? Did you wear your PPE? Yes, Dad. Right? Like it's tough.
He was just watching out.
Important,
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for making the time to come out here. And Mo, you set this up and you organized and facilitated, and we had a few people that didn't come.
Yeah. Cool.
Happy to be
Foamers
here.
are the hardest guys to get into a room.
Oh, yeah, that's what you were saying at the very start when this was first presented. You're like, this is going to be a challenge, but I mean, you pulled it off, so thank you very much for that.
Oh, appreciate
and
it.
thanks Lassicam for pulling that off as well too. So I just want to share everybody's deets again. So again, Jeff, Rightsol, right? It's all insulation, and the Instagram is Rightsol Insulation. Website is www.rightsol.ca, and cell number to get a hold of you, or you got a 1-800 number, right? So it's 1-800-265-8869.
Yep.
And then your email is jeff@rightsol.ca. And then Simone Marsden, Basque Pro Inc. And Instagram is basque.pro.inc. And cell number is for, you want me to give up the?
Oh, hell yeah.
416 416-419-1438. And her email is sam@basqueinsulation.com. And then Foamit.
The good thing about Basque is they take phone calls after midnight.
Really?
I will answer my
Really?
phone.
You just announced that on this.
Call me. Let's talk about cellulose.
How warm is it in the house right now? What's Foamit's information? I don't have it right here on hand.
Foamit.ca. All handles are at Foamit. 416-893-8712 goes to the office.
Any email?
info@foamit.ca.
You've
Cell
never
phone
recited
number?
that before.
Never recited, because he gets the calls. They call. They found him. That's it. They just Google and they find him.
I don't give a Foamit person.
Well, I gave out the business line, so
Someone's got to get some work, and someone's got to reach out. And I guess you guys are looking for work, and also for employees as well too, if that's an opportunity.
yeah,
For sure.
Doors always open.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Right.
Oh, and Jeff is with a G.
That's right. That's right. It's not the other Jeff. It's GEOFF.
Got to be different.
No, and it's the right pronouncing is what?
Correct. Yeah, Jeff. There's no difference.
No,
No
it's
G off?
G
No
off.
G off. No,
G
no
off.
But
off.
the origin of the word.
Yes, the JEFF is the Americanized version. So
Is that what it is?
Americanized, yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's actually English, the GEOFF. My my heritage isn't English, but so I don't know. I don't know where it came from, but it's there.
Emma, I was going to ask you. You guys go back to Australia, right? No, you guys go.
We haven't.
We
been
used to
there for a
spend the
while.
winters in Australia. We used to spend the winters in Australia until COVID happened.
Got it. Then things.
So we
changed.
leave in December, come back in March.
And that's going to happen this winter, or no?
No, we took on a big challenge this year.
That's right. Yeah, you already
Yeah.
mentioned to me. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
So are we. too.
I know.
That'll be fun.
Can we ask what it is?
It's up to
Off
you guys.
camera?
Yeah, we'll talk
Off
about
mic?
Yeah. Off mic. Off mic. Yeah. Come to the studio. You guys can find out. No.
It's definitely no kids. No more kids.
No more kids.
It doesn't.
Clarifying that.
You guys have two?
We have two.
It doesn't get harder after two.
daughters?
son and daughter.
It doesn't get harder after two.
I don't care.
I have 4 daughters, so
Whoa, you have 4 daughters?
4 daughters.
That's
Daughters
a
are the
challenge.
best.
yeah, it's
So I guess you're going to have 5 kids soon. Every man I know that has 4 daughters is always trying for the 5th, hopefully get a male.
Son.
Yeah.
Our family friend did that. They had 5 boys a minute? 4 boys. 5, yes.
5 boys,
And they had
and then
6
they
as a
finally
girl.
girl.
Oh, wow, they finally got one. Well, at least you
Soccer
got a lot
team.
of older brothers.
I
to
know
take
somebody
care
that
of
had
her.
Team.
7 girls and the 8th was a boy.
Yeah, I've heard of something similar to
And
that.
but
too.
my I have no clue when it comes to girls. I come from a family of I have 2 brothers. My mom comes from a family of 10 where she had 9 brothers, and my dad comes from a family of 5 when he had 1 sister. So when it comes to girls, I had no clue what I was getting into.
What happened there?
Now you're in real trouble.
Yes, yes. At least I'll be well taken care of.
Yeah, yes.
Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
Thanks,
being on the
man.
show and sharing so much, honestly. That's it. We're out of here, Angela.